Then where we left off, after dropping the drugged lithomorphs into the Vabian Amora outside of the Crow Fort, Nazim B piloted the Sevastopol up and away from the Seardaman and the Erdaman below. She did take some damage from the blasts of fireballs that were hitting the bottom of the ship. And then you began to plan your next steps, which of course does need to, at some point, include returning your Imperial guests to their own ship and then head towards the capital. I'll go ahead.
Well, they're from the capital. They're just bring them back.
No, remember we talked about this. We have to take them back to their ship.
How the fuck are we gonna find their ship? I'm sorry. How the fuck are we gonna find their ship? I mean, I feel like that might be gone. Do we have a way of tracking it or something? Is there some sort of device on this ship that can find another ship? I don't know if there is, but if there is, I think I'm gonna call it a radar.
Does the Sevastopol have radar?
I'm assuming they're still where we left them.
Also, Pogo is, after feeling like the blast of the fireball, is going to go yell at fake Nora or fake Nazim and just yell at him because he thought we were being cloaked and they wouldn't be able to fucking see us. So I would be doing that as well.
You were, but you were still visible with the cloud of. It's not invisibility. Keep in mind, it's a biological camouflage, just like certain
like
frogs and octopus, squid. You know, a lot of cephalopods.
Chameleon?
Chameleons. Yeah, exactly. So it's the kind of gross, almost like milky discoloration with little blotches of color inside of it. So still visible, especially when it is contrasted against a sky that is like snow piling down, because then there's just this hole where snow is not coming down, and that's essentially what you guys were, meaning that you guys are, entirely invisible. Plus, you guys are still on the deck, and you do not turn invisible. Remember, so it's not a magical.
So it's a Wonder Woman in her invisible jet type situation. Kind of.
Sako made that reference, and I don't know specifically, but since he also made it, I'm guessing it's probably true.
All right, I get it. Yeah.
She just sits inside the invisible jet.
From the bottom. They might be able to kind of see like weird.
You just see Wonder Woman sitting in the sky, flying across a Mach 2.
Okay, well, yeah, that's essentially it then. Yeah, so you guys wouldn't be invisible. Obviously, Nazim wouldn't. Anything that isn't the body of the Sevastopol would not be invisible.
That explains the lack of furniture.
Well, and anything that she grows, like the chitinous shell and things like that, anything that is part of her would still. But if you guys bring other things aboard, a footlocker full of shit or something like that, that's not going to turn invisible either. Now, the idea, of course, is that it wouldn't matter if you're not that close. But if you're close enough where you're only a few hundred feet above the ground like that, then and you're still contrasted against the sky where it's like the Sevastopol blocking the snow coming down, things like that, you're still going to have some visibility there. It's not a magical invisibility like you guys have it for yourselves.
What a terrifying situation for people below who want to use the restroom.
Let's hope we don't have to deal with that kind of thing. That's not the kind of thing I'm an RP for you. So what are you guys doing? Both Bara and Karina are inside the ship still. In fact, now that the ship is beginning to return to its standard coloration, she can't fly cloaked forever. But the last you saw, they were both kind of smashed against what you assume was the inside of a wall or the shell, and clearly talking to each other when you could see them.
Did we get? I know we already applied our long rests, but is it technically still the same day, or did we sleep after our fights?
So this was basically the time jump occurred before the end of the last session, because it was basically the travel time to the Crow Fort. So you've already had your long rests. Exactly. You already had your long rests, and it's morning after.
So, do you guys all think who do you think won? Do you think the alien things got away from it, or do you think they just kind of were murdered by the big guys? Did anyone see it? I wasn't looking. I was too scared.
Well, it looked like one of them got hurt real bad. I don't know about the ones we dropped on them, though. I'm assuming they're probably dead.
Remember, we didn't drop them. They went of their own accord. If anyone asked, they just jumped right off the side. They were excited to get a meal.
Right. Well, the ones that went hunting, I'm pretty sure didn't survive.
All right. Well, win-win. I love it. Great job, everybody.
You would have seen a kind of Clash of the Titans style, one attacking the other, and one of them no longer moving by the end. So, yeah, I mean, it would have been pretty visible to everybody that at least one of them was injured enough that you don't think it would survive by the time
Pogo's
you
going
fall
to
away.
get really excited and kind of go up to the group. And so we're going to go to the capital now, right? That's where we're headed. Capital. They would see that, all the sights and sounds and the taverns and the beer and the ales.
We have to drop them off at their ship first, and then yes, we're going to the capital.
Do we? I mean,
Yes, we
all right.
can't just take. We have to take them back to their group.
That's fine.
regiment,
How?
whatever.
How do we do that? Do we just start flying back the same direction we were coming from?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they got too far from where we left them.
Did they even know where we were going?
Well, just as a
They'll
reminder.
probably stay. You know what?
guys-
Rule of thumb: they'll probably stay in the same spot as soon as if we lost them, they'd stop because they would come back to where they were. I've been on a hike before. I know how things work.
Yeah, so you guys sped off and kind of left them behind. They were trying to keep up, and then they lost you at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we could just go back and search the area, I guess. Oh.
I mean, it's fine. It's on the way. I mean, it's not directly on the way, but it's a little bit of a loop around. We'll go to the side and then we'll go up. Are the two people the other two people with our group? Are they like off in the ship exploring?
They're inside the ship still. Well,
All right,
unless you
I'm
knew.
gonna go find them. I'll go
the
find
ship
them and see.
turned
Maybe they
solid.
have a way. Maybe they have a way of communicating like we do. They're a little, rocky talkies here. Maybe they can figure it out.
As you're making your way back towards the shell, like the doorway back inside, you look up and see on the face of the shell there, you see other Nazim, who has now draped himself in this black cloth, just so that he's not entirely naked, and he kind of shouts down over the deck where all of you are. So, has anybody decided where we're going now? I mean, I got us away from the snow, but what's the plan here?
Head back the other way. We're gonna go back the other direction and find the other ship according to everyone here. Apparently.
So, for just turning around and
Onward!
heading... All right.
I could
Turns back.
captain too, probably, if you need. I was almost a captain of a seafaring vessel for a short amount of time.
Wait, the one we all met
You mean
on?
the one you
You were
tried to
there,
steal
yeah.
shit
I was
off of there?
almost captain of that ship for a while. Remember? It's because of the experience. They could just sense it on me.
Right.
The waves are in my muscles. That doesn't make any sense.
Man, Sarah was gonna say something real mean, but never mind.
Oh, I got it.
Sergeant Beraverito. Beraverito. Gotta find that one. So I'm gonna go look for Sergeant Beraverito. You know what? I'm gonna pull Norak with me too.
Okay. You...
I'm just gonna grab him by the hand and walk with him like he's my big brother.
Yeah, it's probably going to feel at least a little more like it's the other way around. I don't know how you're going to pull him by the hand.
No, like he's my big brother, and I'm like, come on! We gotta go see the ponies.
All right. Then the two of you make your way inside. It don't matter. Anyways, you make your way inside, and as you do, coming down the first set of steps. So once you've gone in and kind of gone into the first back area, where the stairs are that come down from either side, you see both the sergeant and the xenobiologist coming down the steps. We didn't really know what to do when things started turning invisible, so we were just making our way back down to find you. What's happened here?
Well, we got rid of those big beasties, and Norak here was just telling me about how interested he is in. There's a bar in the Imperial City. Are you from Imperial City? Or are you just part of the the military? Like, are you from there? Do you live there?
Never been.
Norak, what were you telling me about that bar? What was it? What was it you liked about it?
The ale. Yeah, best ale. I missed.
Something about the lady, some special woman. She did some sort of trick or something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, the one with the ping pong balls.
Yeah, the ping pong.
Yeah.
We're just
She's really
curious.
good at table
Do you
tennis,
know
yeah.
the name? We couldn't remember the name of it. He had a wonderful time, but he drank too much, and I was wondering if you knew the name of that place.
Yeah, cannot remember the name.
Yeah.
The only one I don't think I've heard of a tavern with a lady and ping pong balls.
It's quite a show. Recommend it. Anyways, do you have any way? We're gonna go back. We're gonna take you back to your ship now. After that, after we got rid of those, creepy beastie guys. Do you have any way of knowing their exact location? We're gonna start heading back there, but figured we'd ask.
I mean, I can reach out to the captain and she can let us know where to meet her.
Sure, that's perfect. We can go ahead and do that. Do you mind, hanging out? We can go back to the group and we can discuss it in the best place. We could meet up with you and your crew.
Sure.
Sure, fantastic. Awesome.
You're not gonna make the ship turn invisible again, are you?
Probably not. Can't guarantee anything. Not in this life. And I'm gonna start walking back. Tell her about the ping pong ball show, Norak. Run away.
You do pass Finn on the way. He's kind of just making his way back upstairs, basically the other side. So you kind of pass him as he's heading up the stairs on the other side.
I'm gonna say nothing to him because he's a fucking weird.
He doesn't. You can't really talk to him anyway, so there isn't really
just running
much.
past him.
Okay. He doesn't make any reaction to you. Just continues floating. But they do meet you out on the deck. There's a little bit of nervousness between them in the exposed open air, despite being on the Solera Vento, which is a smaller airship, if anything. Maybe the less mundane nature of this specific ship is concerning to them, but otherwise they seem fine. The captain says that they're still over the Caliodoran, so I mean it's quite a ways. Do you have a specific place you want him to try to meet us?
I mean, what if we just head that direction, and when we see each other, we see each other? I don't know. How long is it gonna take us to what's a good halfway point?
Well, she's not. I mean, I told her basically where we are, but I'm not familiar with this area either. So they're probably half a day behind us.
I'll show her a map.
The trouble is that they are over the sea. There aren't a lot of landmarks, I guess, over the Caliodoran. There's small islands in certain places and so on. But as far as finding a place, it'd be easier to go to shore and then meet from there. They were just following after the Sevastopol, and you guys outflew them by the Sevastopol leaving atmosphere and speeding up.
Okay, so what would be the best point along to see them? If they head towards shore?
I mean, at the speed we flew here, probably over maybe Curtin would be fine. We could go over Pale, but there's a lot of unrest over there, and if we are low enough in atmosphere there, we might get some odd looks. We don't want to cause another international incident.
We could always go to Carton.
All right, I'll let the captain know. Do you need us to do anything in the meantime? I mean, we've kind of just been taking notes, and Karina's been drawing. I mean, because you guys had essentially an extra day in there. I'm going to say that they basically did that. They've kind of seen the whole ship, and Karina's been sketching a lot of it. But as far as what else to do, if you have specific things for them, that they're willing to help out or whatever. But beyond that, they don't have anything else they need to do necessarily.
I don't really think there's anything.
We do also have the concern that Captain was given explicit orders to recover this ship for Imperial study. So, if we're heading back there now, I mean, Karina and I are both in agreement that this ship is much better off not under the scalpels and the scopes of the Xenoscience crews back in the capital, but we still have to return to our crew, and the less we have to lie to Captain Emily, the better. She's got a good eye for spotting that kind of thing.
In other words, if we just drop you off in Curtin and then just leave, maybe? And then the ship's
It might not be a bad idea. We could just find a nice, comfortable spot. You can have a picnic. And then you can let your ship know that you were dropped off, but that this ship creature went back into space and it was it was not recoverable. It's not anyone's real fault. It's just, and that, it's not really a, problem there. I think it's best for this ship. This is living, somewhat sentient being, and I don't want it torn apart.
There's a little bit when you suggest that, there's a little bit of a grin from Karina, and they're kind of. It seems like they're weighing that. That seems like
obviously we're no enemies of the Empire or anything. I think you've seen that we just want to work out the best possible outcome for everyone involved. And that was pretty fun dropping those things on those other forces back there.
Speaking of, how would you expect us to get down? Are you going to fly us down? We can't.
We can bring the ship down and let you off.
It'd have to be pretty far outside of town. But we definitely don't want to draw any kind of suspicious looks, and this ship isn't really small either. I mean, that's fine.
Let me bring up a map.
Curtain's is basically right inside of a forest. In fact, that's where Arteme was picked up from.
Okay, so we just land right in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of the Calidoran Sea too.
It is, yeah. Which is why it would be a good spot. But yeah, so that area isn't particularly dangerous. You guys, at least those. Let's see, Pogo would know, maybe Sarah and Arteme for sure. Arteme did a lot of traveling around that area. So that in the middle of the woods, it's safe enough that at least with the two of them, that they'd probably be able to make their way into Curtain without any trouble. All right, well,
right.
Yeah,
let's take you there.
That sounds like a good plan then. I mean, you could fly us down so that we wouldn't have to walk in with that broom maybe, but that's fine. We can, if you put us half a day's ride outside of or walk outside.
Well, yeah, we could leave the ship high enough and I could fly you down if you're not afraid of heights.
Neither of them seem to be, because that is how you got them aboard essentially in the first place. But it would need to be high enough up, or have the Sevastopol could cloak, of course, and then be a little bit lower and not be concerned. But neither of them seem to be concerned. Either of those options seem fine.
That works then.
All right, then I will let the captain know to meet us there. Should I maybe wait a little bit so that we get there first?
That would be great.
So that you have time to get this creature out of eye shot before the captain shows up. All right.
I mean, or unless there's a place around that you know of, we'll just let you off. Maybe 3 miles away, so you'll have a little bit of a walk, but it shouldn't be too bad.
That sounds good. That'll
Don't
give us
drop
a
me
little
off.
time to.
Don't drop me off in front of school, Dad.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, the embarrassment of being seen with a giant tentacle spaceship. All right, then are you? So it's going to take you probably 6 or 7. Let's see. I mean, if you're going up, doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it's about probably 6 to 8 hours or so to get there. So if you guys look at Justin brought it up already, I imagine, but the visual aids, and then under maps you should see, the journal thing, and then maps, and then Calidoran Sea. I can share it to you real quick here. So you're heading basically from the far east over there to where it says Curtain, which is about halfway across the ocean. So
looking at this map, by the way, is it where again is the capital type? Where's the Empire?
The capital that you're going to is you see where it see DALIN in the mountains on the top left?
Yeah.
That rectangle there, the biggest chunk in the top left
is the capital?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, I have them all open, but I was like, didn't know his name. All right, awesome.
Yeah. That region there, that probably looks familiar, Justin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Phandalin is actually in this one too, except they blew it up.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, in balance, it was destroyed. It is now a perfect disc of obsidian now. The whole city just melted down. In fact, actually, you guys would know this because of the Vast Air Edition anyways, but basically it occurred during the balance campaign that it was burned into, basically melted into black obsidian. So anyways, you guys will kind of be flying over that region, but yeah, that region should look familiar, Justin.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so let's see. It'd probably be closer to 12 hours to get there. So anyways, it's going to take you, half a day to get there. So you guys doing anything else for that time?
I am going to go and speak with fake Nazim.
Okay.
And try to figure out what his deal is so that I can get a better handle on Nazim. So I'll have a conversation with him whenever you're ready.
You make your way up to the captain's chair, and you find him actually for once not sitting in it. Any times that you've checked in on him in the last day and a half, he has been sitting in the chair with these two kind of tube things, kind of sticking out of the forehead almost, and there's not a helmet really, but like a covering the top, I get visor almost over the top of the head. Anyways, he's not sitting in the chair though. He's actually just up and staring out of this giant window, which he's kind of over at one edge of it, and you see him kind of like picking at the corner of the window when you came in.
All right.
Hey, I don't know that I even caught your name, Gleeman. What do you want me to call you?
You can call me Pogo. And do you mind if I just hang out with you for a few minutes? I know we've had a crazy 8-10 hours. Can I hang out? I know we got off on the wrong start, and I apologize for that, but I didn't even know who you were. I thought you were the other guy that looks like you in here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stressful situation. It's understandable.
So,
yeah, I could use the company.
What was that?
I could use the company.
All right, so you enjoy company, and you fly this ship, and you look exactly like our friends. So, you guys are basically the same person, right? Somehow?
There's a little bit of a shrug, and then he says it's a little, and he kind of swirls his finger around his head, a little crazy, is the emote, I guess, that he gives you. It's a little mixed up. I'm not entirely certain, but at least from the conversations we've had, I'm me, and he's also me. And that's a little tricky to get my head around, but it seems like at least those creatures, those things, cloned us, and we seem to remember up to the same point. And then from that point on, it's split, and he has different memories than I do. Yeah, it's fun.
So you do have memories before you, I suppose, woke up here and were able to control this ship and things like it. There's something about you previously before this all happened.
Yeah.
Do you know if you're a copy of him, or if he's a copy of you, or if you're both copies?
As much as I hate to admit it, I think he came before me. I don't know if he's the original or not. I'm still struggling to accept this, that I'm a clone. But whether he is one also, or whether he was the original, I don't know.
You're doing a great job. Just for starters, you're doing a great job. Really coming to terms with this quickly. Just snapping into action. Appreciate that.
Well, I haven't done a lot other than getting out of that chair, so it's been a lot of time to think.
So, do you mind if I ask what you do remember, if you remember anything from your previous life, before whatever this was, and before you were possibly made in that tube?
Well, there was a point, I don't really know how long ago now, where I keep, every time I say I keep feeling the urge to say we. But just I, as far as I know, anyway.
Pronouns are important.
Yeah, we were walking through the desert near a place called Al Qadir, and I'd been struggling with, as you all, I imagine you had the whole download of information of what happened when the sky turned black and everything, right? When the moon blew up, all of that.
Yeah, everyone does, especially me. Absolutely.
Yeah, of all of you, you probably know the least about it, actually, Joseph.
No, perfectly.
Fox had a little more time, and Sako actually played through all of it. So,
it was as bad as the Y2K bug.
Yeah, moon's blowing up, cats and dogs living together.
Pandemonium.
Yep. So around that time, well, I'd lost some people important to me, and that was difficult to deal with, and spent some time kind of, let's say, not exactly sober for a few weeks, and looking for a way to pay back some of the people that were involved that used those things that destroyed so much of the world, and then I found a way of doing so, and met in with a group that at first I thought were just a cult, for lack of a better term, looking to destroy the artifacts that had caused all of this destruction, and it turned out they were something a little different than that, and they fed this tadpole-looking thing into my ear, and then things got really weird from there, and eventually I woke up in that glass tube.
Right. Well, I'm sorry that you went through that kind of loss. I appreciate it that you're helping us out here. This is going to sound strange, but we've run into other people and things that have had those tadpole creatures inserted in them, and usually it doesn't end great. Are you feeling weird about it? Do you feel anything strange? Anything talking to you inside your head, or if you ever feel like you're losing control over it, or that does not sound? Does it seem like you have it under control?
They did some things after that seemed to have, I don't know if it stalled it permanently, or if this is just a different form of the evolutionary phase that it's trying to put me and your other friend me through this. I'm not sure if this is a stalling, or if this is just a different version that it's adapting us into. But yeah, we saw plenty of other creatures that they had done this kind of.
Do you remember the name of that group, or those group of people, that cult? Do you remember the name of them?
They didn't really have well, if they did, it wasn't something they spoke to me anyway.
Terrible cult. You got to have a name. It's got to have a word.
I say
Paradise or something of that nature in it.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
I say cult now. At the time, they were just a group of like-minded individuals that wanted to destroy those same artifacts, but they were just oracles of some other being or creature. At the time, I wasn't aware of that, but after they fed the tadpole into my head, it was clear they were emissaries of some sort. Oracles or a group that were here to try to bring in some other species.
All right. Well, that is quite the story. That's quite the last for you. I suppose that's just the last few weeks or months of your life. You don't know. Do you know, like, what day do you think it is? Like, do you know what time it is and what date it is?
Who's the president?
Who is the president?
Hang on, let me grab my calendar.
What year, what time was this all taking place? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was. Hang on, he's not stalling for time. I am, because I have to grab my calendar here. That would have been. Let's see. Okay, I had to make sure that if I had given a date before or not. That was in the middle of Shells. Is the last that I remember for sure. It was Chorus was full, so it would have had to have been around the 15th of Shells.
And what year? Just to make sure. It's hard to know. Like, do you know what year it is right now?
2292. It is still 2292, right?
All right, you're gonna have to answer for me.
It is. It is.
Okay. All right. So yeah, still 2292. So this is recent, at least. You haven't been gone for too long.
It's,
shit! That would have been a great opportunity to fuck with them, but
3.5 months. No,
right.
3 months. Yeah, right about 3 months.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any questions? About us, about why we're here, about.
He's turned away a little bit, and he keeps peeling at the corner of this window. And as he does, you see this kind of shimmer cross over this window in the shell as it kind of like fades, like a digital screen, like bending an LCD screen or an LED screen rather. You see something similar to that as he's peeling up at the corner, and he starts to pull it away, and you hear the kind of vacuum release sound when you're peeling plastic that's over like an acrylic shell. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Plastic off a TV or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of like that weird, plastic peel sound. As he pulls it away, you see the screen kind of like a line of black go across it, and then it reappears. And then every time he disturbs it, it kind of continues again. You see that he's literally peeling the window off, and there's just shell behind it. Which I would tell you certainly an odd thing, because you probably assumed, or would have a reasonable assumption anyways, that it was a window, but it does not appear to be so. That this is a membrane of some sort that allows you to see through it, that he's peeling off.
You know, I just think it's magic, right? Like in this world.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't be unsettling to Pogo. That's
You're
exactly
like,
what you
oh, this
assume
is
that
such
it
a
is.
magical vessel.
Yeah, well, no,
They have
and you
magical
would
windows.
So specifically, Pogo would have some awareness of what's called a portable hole. Justin probably knows what a portable hole is, right?
Yeah.
So Pogo would have an idea that that's essentially what this is, except it doesn't. You don't know if anything could pass through it. You doubt it because you didn't feel air coming through it. But it's like a portable window, at least, that he's peeling off of it. And as he's pulling it away, I don't like how bright this thing is, so I'm hoping maybe to at least make it a little smaller or something. Kind of roll the curtain up or something. I don't know. As far as questions, I mean, really, you're all a pretty strange group as it is. And the other Nazim and I, we probably, I guess, fit in enough with that eclectic group that it isn't too much of a concern there. But I don't know if I've even gotten my own mind settled enough to start wondering about all of you anyway.
All right. Well,
I mean, as far as the short term, I can tell you that I imagine the other Nazim has similar goals to myself in that since we were both of the same cloth at the very least, that we probably are seeking the same thing, unless he's dramatically changed in the a few weeks of time that he's had more than I have, and if that's the case, then I don't see any reason to not assist in this, since he would probably be striving for the same things I am.
Sure. Out of curiosity, the people or things that you're trying to take this revenge on, was that ever handled, or is that still something you want to try to do?
The artifacts disappeared, as far as we know, and kind of left us a little aimless, or at least me. I can't speak for him necessarily. And then as soon as that was over, at least as soon as I woke up, my first thought was to try to find any of these sources of power that they kind of came from, and try to do whatever we could to.
This is a pole. Was this the pole created? Was this made after they put the tadpole in your head? Like, is this something that you've had this idea, mulling around, and as soon as you started to change, it got stronger and stronger and gave you more of a direct purpose?
Yeah.
All right.
There was without this is a tricky spot as a DM, because I don't want to necessarily reveal anything. Well, I don't want to speak for Sako is the thing, but because I don't know if he intended. But they're the little bits of details that he's willingly given, I guess, is what I'm willing to explore around. I suppose, if that makes sense. So I guess then how he responds, yes, at least me. I won't speak for him, but at least me. I was seeking everything I possibly could to find the people responsible for the loss of my family, and at least this group, these emissaries that were offering to help, they weren't lying about that. All they did is provide more power to make that an easier job. Now, they obviously copied us and had other intents for us to use that power, but at least since we're free, I think, now, and that power still is something I can control, then I'm left to try to seek them out and destroy them as I so choose. And being here with all of you seems a viable means of doing so.
Well, if they're bad things or bad people, then we don't mind destroying them, assuming we run into them. But it was really really nice speaking with you. I'm glad I got to know you. Just to let you know, we're just kind of adventurers, a ragtag group thrown together through trying times and tribulations. But if you have any questions, if you're not piloting the ship or anything, just let us know and we can chat with you. Nazim, you guys might want to sit down and have a chat as well, figure out exactly what your overall plan is with each other.
Yeah, I think I need a name as well. Yeah, it seems unlikely that he's gonna. Yeah,
we could call him something different. I don't mind.
That would be great. Let the other players in the party name the other player.
I'll be Nazim too.
Well, I mean, I've been calling him Nazim B or other Nazim and so on, but eventually, presumably, we'll.
What if we call him Naziman? We call him Naziman, and then we call him Nazim.
Naziman.
Zeman?
Sako, I'll let you come up with a name for him. You guys can discuss it amongst yourselves.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Meaning,
But we'll,
let me clarify. You guys as players can discuss, and then Sako, you can just say that that's your middle name or whatever, and want him to go by that. Whatever. I'll just leave it up to you guys that way, if that makes sense. So.
all right, I'm gonna. I don't want to talk to him too much. I just want to find out some basics. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave him to his awkward loneliness, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna explore the ship because I haven't actually explored the ship too much. More looking for a place that may be comfortable to take a sit or a lie down, as opposed to just finding any other spots.
When you make your way in, like now that you're, kind of taking a minute to explore the ship, I'll tell you that you've noticed already that the inside of the ship is changing. But you haven't, paid too close attention during this time, and that, it was a pretty rough couple of days there, so you kind of just vegged for the day of travel. But now, in kind of going through the rooms and starting to look around to kind of try to find a place to sleep that isn't just crashing, you do notice that the ship itself, especially the separate rooms and individual quarters, have now grown chunks of shell into a bench and into a little corner spot with what would essentially functionally be a table and a chair, things like that. Like all of these rooms are starting to kind of morph into these separate, private quarters essentially. God damn it. So, anyways, they're not biological. What's I guess morphological changes to the interior that are making it a more functional place for humanoids like yourselves rather than telekinetic squid-faced beings.
It's essentially building a home, quote unquote, that's more adaptable to us.
Yeah, to humanoids that would use those kinds of surfaces rather than the floating telekinetic, illithid that were previously occupying it. Stargoyle has explained it to you all that the Sevastopol, in its gratitude essentially for what you guys have done for it, and that it's essentially free, certainly at the moment at least, is trying to make itself habitable for you, for you guys as a people, and is trying to kind of make rooms and so on for all of you. So
That's
Pogo, you
awkward, but I'm just gonna go find a place and I'm gonna go relax, sit down, and lay down for a bit.
all right. You find one where there's a halfling-sized shape of a bed. Essentially, you still get it's not pillows. It's not comfortable otherwise, but at least it's up off the floor. I will tell you though that as soon as you lay down, you begin to close your eyes. You see something moving out of the corner of your eye, and you kind of flick them back open again. And as soon as you do, it darts back around the corner.
Dog things.
And it's one of the little alien dog thingies that is just outside the door, just kind of sitting like you caught it as it was starting to walk in, but as soon as you flick your eyes open, it darts back around the door. You didn't hear it run away. It's probably still just sitting there on the other side of the door where you can't see it.
I mean, I'm just closing the door. I don't trust him yet. I don't like him.
There's no door to close. It's just a doorway. It's just
I'm
an
not
open
going
doorway.
to sleep anyways. I'm just relaxing, so I'm going to keep my eyes open.
All right. Stargoyle did also, by the way, tell you that the Sevastopol can replicate like wood textures and build doors and so on. It's going to take time, especially because she's injured still. But the interior of the ship, you guys can just give me a basic idea of what it is that you want as far as layout, and I'll Photoshop it in so that you guys have kind of basic quarters and everything inside of it.
Home away from home.
But yeah, I mean, you find a comfortable enough spot despite the little psychic dog spies staring at you. What's everybody else doing?
Sarah's probably found like a corner with a bench or something and is sitting down. She's gonna read. Oh fuck! What was it called? The Inconspicuity of Socronal.
Socronal. Yep. Okay.
So she's gonna sit there and try to make herself finish reading that.
Okay. Yeah, you've had that for quite a while.
Yeah.
In game, that was April of 2020.
Yeah, we were on the island still.
Yep.
So...
Yep. By Relenthostra of Kedril.
So...
It is dense. It is exceptionally boring. And it is specifically the entire. It's think of it like reading a heavy, dense engineering textbook. of the intricacies and complexities specifically around Sorconal and its source. I'll tell you. Go ahead and give me an, I guess, Arcana. I mean, it's kind of history as well, but Arcana is fine. Check. Oh.
I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. History and Arcana are the same, so.
Oh, are they? Well, I guess
Yeah.
other than proficiency, if you're are you proficient with both? You might be actually.
Yep.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah. With that,
Well- You know what? We're half a day. Are we gonna get another full rest before we get to Mist?
yes, yeah, it's still going to be
Great.
another. It's going to be another day and a half.
Then I'll
Well,
just-
44 hours, 41 hours, 44, I think. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I'll re-roll.
Okay, I mean, we'll come back to it as far as and well, with a
Oh
two.
my god!
Yeah, you're not. I mean, you're getting more understanding of how the rill itself functions, but I'll tell you that you don't. Well, you're not going to pick up on the one thing I was going to potentially reveal. You'll need to spend some more time with it. I'll tell you that you feel like you're probably on, like you're at least getting some reason to want to continue because you feel like you're probably going to learn useful things potentially from finishing the book, but you haven't gotten there yet.
All right.
I think does Artemis still have the other? You got two books at that time. The other one was called A Fear and a Handful of Dust: My Journey Through Dangerous Lands by Kalo Yannick.
Yeah, I think it was in the bag of holding.
Yeah, I think Artemis still
Yeah.
has that one. That one's more of a. It's supposed to be an autobiography, but it's essentially a fictional novel. Because the guy was embellishing and elaborating on all of it. All right, so Sarah's reading. What is Norok up to?
I'm going to go to the ship and see if there's anything else like hiding in there that we didn't notice yet. So
Okay.
anything
Well,
alive
Okay.
that we're, like besides little doggy things or whatever.
As you're walking around, because you're somewhat active and they're kind of trying to be helpful, three of them, at first only one and then a second and then eventually a third, start kind of following you around, to help essentially whatever it is you're trying to do as you're peeking through corners and checking hatches and things like that. There's still some broken crates in the third floor, I think it is, where the little energy orbs are. That when the two Elithomorphs were fighting, they had smashed one of them and knocked those orbs all over the floor. It's the stone, the ones that are made of just rocky mineral. So there's some broken bits there, but you don't see anything alive. There's nothing else that appears to be in your entire search. Meaning, basically there's nothing. I'm not going to have you roll because there isn't anything to find, so it wouldn't matter if you got a natural 20 even. So there doesn't appear to be anything, and even if you do this a few times, basically you find nothing but the relics themselves and Nazim B and Stargoyle and Finn on the ship.
All right.
How about Nazim?
Okay, so since we're back on the ship, what's our ETA to our next destination? Ballpark?
For Curtin, at this point, you probably have another 6 hours before you guys get there.
Okay, so 6 hours. So what I'll do on the ship is, since I haven't been on the ship for a little while, I want to see if anything has changed since I've last been on here, whether we've taken on other cargo other than the weapons of mass destruction we just dropped. But look for any change in the ship, such as cargo or things that might be of use or things that are not familiar to me that have changed since my last piloting.
Nothing as far as new cargo. Like there isn't any other cargo other than the tanks that the Elithomorphs were in, and then the some other crates and things like that. But most of those are just the engine fuel. Other than that, the ship is largely empty, and you do know that there were some other things, but the other Elithid that were there was a crew total of 7 when you were still on the ship. There were 7. And one of which was left behind, which you do know was the one that none of the rest of you know this, so don't meta knowledge this in case this becomes relevant in the future. Only Nazim does. The Ulatharid that teleported back in when you guys were fighting Euraxes was the only one that was left behind, meaning that there were, as far as Nazim knows, there are 6 that are unaccounted for. Now, if you guys have that communication amongst the group, that's fine. You could figure that out. The rest of the group did find some other Elithid that were at least related to or connected to the warrior in some way. So unless that conversation comes up, you guys don't know those things. Only Nazim does. That make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't even think we've told Nazim we killed another dude yet.
No, we haven't.
We accidentally almost did, and then I think we covered up really well.
Nazim has pieced together more than you guys have told him because
Probably.
of some other details, because you guys accidentally let some things slip, essentially, and he had other parts of the puzzle that you guys didn't have, both of you, essentially, both groups, both, sets, I guess, Nazim versus the rest of the group. Each of you had different puzzle pieces, and he's been able to piece some things together, the same as you have about him. And it's okay for you guys as players to know those things. Just obviously, you guys are all, you've played long enough to know not to meta knowledge on that thing. But anyways, Nazim, the Ulathar that teleported back in, he was the one that was left behind. So you at least have an accounting for at least one of the 7-man crew that was on this ship. You don't know about the rest of them necessarily. Anyways, as far as other cargo, though, you do know that there were other objects. There were things, not creatures necessarily, and not really cargo necessarily. But the ship was stripped. They took everything. You don't know if it was just that one that did it or not, but they're not here on the ship anymore. Other objects that were here previously, and as far as the physiology, the ship was different. It was white and black mostly. Like the coloration of the Sevastopol was mostly white and black, which you know to be the typical coloration used when it doesn't need to spend energy on coloration. Its natural state is usually like a semi-translucent white and black. And so, anyways, that's about it. But after the crash, though, it did look that kind of sickly purple. You still have more details about the crash as well that would potentially change that, Sako. So I'm going to have to send you a whisper for some more information there about when the crash occurred. Do you remember the details that I gave you about the crash?
Vaguely, yes. It's been a while.
It's in your character channel, anyways, in Discord if you need there. So, anyways, it doesn't matter. But as far as things that were on the ship, the objects that I'm discussing here, that's what's relevant there. There weren't other creatures, but as far as things that you know are missing, are still missing, but they must have gone missing around the time of the crash, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Is Nazim doing anything else then? Just walking around and looking?
If there are any free hours or moments, I'll reacclimate myself with the piloting, just to, I guess, not practice, but just reintegrate myself with the piloting of the ship, so that way I can be more efficient if necessary.
Okay. Well, you make your way up there, and Nazim B has this kind of almost, what everybody thinks is a toga is actually called a mantle. That's not a toga. There is a toga. A toga is like a tunic. You guys know what a tunic is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like a 3-nick minus one.
That's what everybody assumes a toga looks like. Anyways, or that's rather what a toga is. What a mantle is what you would see in a Roman Senate, where it's basically just a sheet that's like wrapped around them and thrown over his shoulder. And he's wearing that essentially. He's wearing this kind of like a black sheet kind of that's just wrapped around him. But he is in the seat when you come in. Were you wanting to take a crack at her again?
Yes, just to familiarize myself with it again, and to make sure that I can pilot this thing optimally if necessary. But also going through my bag real quick, do I have extra pairs of clothes in there for him, or just an extra pair of pants, shirts, or something? More Nazimish.
I'd say it'd be reasonable that you would, especially traveling for a while now. That you probably would have picked some up at the last time that you guys were, when you bought your coelacanth cloak, for example.
All right, kind of as an offering, I'll take out a pair of pants and a shirt. Not my best stuff. Just just the traveling stuff, right. And just offer kind of like a peace offering / awkward friendship meeting myself.
He makes a bad joke as you're handing him over. Hey, how did you know my size? These are going to fit perfect.
You hear from down the hall, boo!
As he lifts the kind of visor thingy with the tubes in it up away from his head. Go ahead. She seems calm and happy, surprisingly. At least in the past, I don't know how often you had flown her before, but she always seemed stressed out, I guess, for lack of a better term. So it's actually kind of relaxing and nice. So I had spoken with the Gleeman a little bit about this. As much as I'm not looking forward to going by a different name? Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, you've been awake a little longer than I have, at least, and at least this group knows you. I mean, I'm not going to use any, different name if we head into town somewhere or something. I'll go by my own name there. But as far as with the rest of the group,
Yeah, I haven't thought about that yet, but we should definitely get you a new name. Maybe something, something from our past, something from our history. Let me think about that, and I'll get back to you after we fly the ship here.
and then I guess last thing, then I suppose when we are in towns, if I happen to be, with the rest of you, as if we're traveling as a group, I mean, are we just going to pretend to be twins? What are we going to do here?
I think the best option is definitely twins.
All right. All right. As long as we got our story straight, then I'm gonna go get some shut eye. Then.
All right,
You
sounds
walked
good. I'll take the ship.
All right. Then you settle in. It does feel familiar, despite having not done it in what feels like years, really. Although it's just been a pretty hectic few months, basically. You settle in though, and she flies smooth and fine. You do have only half of the visibility, but you don't really need it, and that the ship itself, like she'll try to keep herself righted. You're not going to crash into a mountain or something, but the window is kind of half rolled up to kind of prevent as much light in here as possible. All right, Justin, and Fox, what's Artemay up to?
I'm gonna find a quiet corner to read some of the medical books that I got from a metal lake.
Okay. Let me check.
And practice a bit of sleight of hand.
Okay.
I get my proficiency up.
Yeah, there's enough. Well, medicine you already have because of the feat you took. You already have double proficiency. Like reading the books is certainly still useful for adjusting DCs, but you can't get proficiency any higher than that, than double. But still potentially useful there. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check.
What do I roll again?
Just sleight of hand.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Not great rolls for. I mean, for not a lot of rolls already so far today, but a 3, a 2, and a 3. But I mean, you'll continue practicing, of course. All right. Then it's still by this point it's getting to be kind of mid-evening. It's probably 7 p.m. ish. As you guys have made it over Curtain, the sun is still. That'd be that's the comic book thing, right? Isn't it? They just always reverse the name.
Mm-hmm. Rumpelstiltskin style.
All right. Well, that wouldn't be Nazim. Okay, never mind. Mizan, Mizan would be backwards, but
yeah, I didn't want to go full on Nazim backwards, but hey, actually, that's not a bad idea. Nazim backwards, hey.
It might be a little bit obvious when you go into town, though, and say, "This is my brother, Mizan, and I'm Nazim." Like you're supposed to be twins. Then that might make it a little more suspicious.
Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Yeah. But you guys arrive over Curtain. It is quiet down below. It's basically just a still forest with the winds kind of gently blowing at the trees below. And other than that, it seems unoccupied out here. That the town itself is pretty small. There's a lot of smoke rising up through the trees. You don't see much of the town because it's actually kind of partially in the woods. There are small copses of sections of trees that are cut away for buildings, but none of them are tall. They're all single story, and kind of a pretty quiet little trading town essentially. With some visible roads leading in and out, but that's about it. What are you guys doing?
Are we just dropping them off outside of town? Or are we gonna chauffeur them down on the broom?
I thought we were chauffeuring them down on the broom.
You can get closer. You can get them closer into town if you're going to fly them down. If you're going to try to land, there isn't a lot of... Basically, if you're going to bring the ship down, you won't be able to land on the ground around here anyway. Which I'll just make it clear too. Nazim would let you guys know this. It would not be a comfortable experience for the Sevastopol to actually try to, touch ground anyway. It'd be very uncomfortable, almost to the point of being painful. It doesn't have landing gear. It is a very large creature, so it being on the ground and trying to then lift back up would be troublesome. Not easy for it to do. But as far as getting near enough to the ground to just fly it down or drop ropes or something like that, that'd be fine if you do that in the middle of the woods.
We could fly them closer to town so they could be picked up by the bird easier.
Sure. All right. Then, for the sake of time, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if that shows up or not. If you don't have anything else that you need from them, we can, hand wave past that portion so we can get, a little bit further here. Especially if I get interrupted from work, I want to make sure we get a little bit further.
Well, they have all the data and the sketches that they took from the tour, so that should be easy. Hopefully that will pass enough.
Yeah, Karina has her sketchbook, which she made thorough sketches really of pretty much everything, including simple things like just the texture of the shells and things like that. So they have quite a bit of data, and they don't seem to be, they're not going to be giving you up. I'll tell you, you guys don't get the impression that they're being deceitful at all. That as long as you're dropping them off here, anyways, they'll be safe enough until the captain picks them up, and then they don't have to lie. You guys just drop them off, and then you flew off.
Yeah, because we don't really want to get them in trouble, but we don't want to put the ship in any more unneeded harm or stressful situations.
Sure. Justin, are you back?
Just got back.
All right. Do me a favor. Try those macros. I want to make sure those actually work or still work.
I haven't used these macros in a very long time.
Well, I only set them up 2 sessions ago, but nobody's used them yet, and I want to make sure they actually work.
Which macros are you talking about? Are you talking about the ones at the bottom?
I put them on everybody's bar, but I put them on whatever bar was not full. So check 1, 2, or 5 would be the most likely. Yeah, okay, it works. Cool. All right, Ben just hit his got it macro too. So
got it. BRB and back.
Cool. All right, yeah. So those things there, if you hit those, one, it sends that, but it also puts a little icon in there so I can tell if you're away or back. Which would be handy for that. Plus, I have this thing too, little ready check thing, which is pretty handy. So everybody just click the little I am back, and it'll put it on the screen, and then I can just close that too.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. Useful, anyways, for if we're going to take a break for. All right, then assuming you guys don't need anything else from them, you drop off Sergeant Barra and xenobiologist Karina off near Curtin. And actually, at this point, it would still be Nazim would still be in the regular Nazim is still in the pilot's chair. So Nazim, if you're not going to get him, Nazim B is sleeping, and then you can kind of turn the ship and direct it northwards towards Mist.
Yeah, I'll familiarize myself with the ship, so that way I can kind of get that back under my belt.
Okay, all right. Roll. I don't have a piloting skill. There isn't anything, D&D specific that is piloting. Let's call it.
Well, technically, wouldn't it be partially like animal handling or athletics?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be athletics. It'd be a little more brain and charisma. So like intelligence / charisma.
I'm flying a flying snail. That's intimidation.
Yeah, it'd be a strength check for sure.
And performance, because look at that thing. It's a flying snail.
What we'll do is we'll use your proficiency, and I don't think there's really a skill for it, so I might just make a skill that you would have. The trouble is that if anybody else needs to fly, they won't have they won't have any proficiency with it essentially. So it'll be closer to a flat D20 for anybody else attempting to do so, potentially with a higher DC. For yours, Nazim, use anything that you're proficient with. It doesn't matter which one necessarily. That is intelligence based. So so use investigation for now. Because that'll have your proficiency and your intelligence modifier.
Okay. Investigation coming up.
Yeah, it won't actually be investigation until I add the custom skill for you. But adding custom skills in Foundry is a little more complicated. Okay.
When we drop them off, also when we start going down, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cast my Find Greater Steed as we're going down. And I know it takes 10 minutes, so I'm gonna try to take that into account and get.
Okay. I mean, are you gonna? are you going to have Nazim, hold the ship still for long enough?
We'll wait. We'll like as on our descent, I'll go ahead and start casting the spell up on the poop deck.
Okay.
And then I'll just tell Nazim to wait around a few minutes until
right.
Pietro makes his way over the hills and through whatever valley, wherever random one he has to be.
There he is. PD Pablo is what he's named as right now, so I couldn't find
him. That's
him.
right. And he didn't die. I think I just left him somewhere.
You had him flying around when you guys were at the.
Oh wait, no, he
Cadogan
may have
docks.
died from the dragon.
No, not the dragon.
Oh.
This was at the Cadogan docks. You sent him off and tried to have him light the town on fire.
That's right.
and then you guys, teleported away from there. So you didn't.
He's fine. I'm sure the other one's fine. This new one's gonna be fine too.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna take him inside.
You don't have a history of getting these things murdered.
Yeah, these are very comfortable, weird seats. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna curl up with PD Pablo.
Sure.
I'm gonna try to do it instead of being in a room. By the way, I'm gonna do it like in a middle section where people are walking. So
like a hallway.
I can say hello as a hallway.
You're definitely going to be getting passed by little alien psychic dogs constantly. Then.
Is there anywhere in the ship that the dogs aren't gonna go?
Well, they go less in the rooms if you're they're not needed there.
You know what? I'm gonna have my PT Pablo just hang out in the door area
and scale them away.
All right. I'm gonna tell them don't hurt them, but don't let them into the room so I can actually relax for a bit.
They're not mean at all. That they're not hostile or mean. You're just uncomfortable around them, right? Well. You don't sense that they have any.
Has anyone have I seen anyone playing with them like a
dog bite scar?
Them? Yeah, like a pet.
Arteme did try. She just didn't roll real well on the animal handling. Trying to pet, I think it was Arteme and Sarah both. I think tried, right?
Yeah, we tried, but they were kind of skittish. They came up to us, but then they just moved away, so we didn't do too much.
Yeah,
they're kind of skittish, but they're not hostile at all.
Give me Arteme, give me an animal handling real quick.
The other thing I'm going to do is while we're on the ship traveling, I'm going to try and practice my stealth by sneaking up on people.
That's
not sneaking
weird.
By.
All right.
What?
With a 23, you do feel like they will probably begin to warm up when they realize that you're not hostile, but they have a lot of conditioning of needing to be out of the way and so on. So it might take some time, but they definitely don't. They are skittish, basically, is the impression you get. Think of like an animal that's clearly been abused or kicked around, stuff like that. That's the impression that you get from them. Practicing stealth is going to be a little bit trickier, especially on a ship like this when there's others around. You can, at the very least, start by trying to walk quietly without making a lot of noise. So we can try.
Well, I do have my elven boots that muffle my noise.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But
so,
I
you want to take them off and try practicing without them?
Yeah.
All right. So you over the span of the what was that? Was that Becky?
No.
Oh, thought I heard something. Then over the span of the next few hours, as you guys are making your way north, it's beginning to get dark, but. Let's see, it wouldn't be until, it's still much closer. You're basically, making your way over the northern part of the chains, which are a pretty tall range of mountains. So the Sevastopol is having to kind of lift up above that under Nazim's piloting, Nazim A. But it is, apart from being cold, other than that, it is a nice peaceful flight. You do see the occasional flock of very large, what are called rocks, of a very large.
I'm gonna give you back the snake bolt quiver, Arteme. It weighs 16 pounds, and my tiny little halfling legs can't fucking carry it.
Okay.
I forgot it pops up on me when you guys are trying to trade things too. It's like, well, what are you trying to trade it to? Because I've got all the NPCs. It just pops up to me saying Giuseppe's trying
16
to trade.
pounds.
Yeah.
That's half of my weight. I can't carry it. I don't have the strength for it. I can barely carry my clothes.
But you make your way up and over the chains and down towards the woods and some very wetlands tributaries on the other side of them, basically near the coastline. There are kind of a swampy area. Let's see, Arteme and probably Sarah give me perception checks. You know, it's just you two for a good reason here, but
Wow.
hey, good rolls. Both of you, well, realistically, it is, call it 10 p.m. at this point. Would either of you be out on the deck at all and looking towards the ground at all?
Probably for a bit, for some fresh air outside.
Okay.
Sarah, I don't know that she would be out there all the time. She may, like, occasionally go out and, like, try to start working on her fear. I don't know if
I'll
she'd
tell
be
you that
staring at the
while,
ground, though.
especially since the ship had to go up in altitude and then come back down, there's still that bubble, that kind of like weird seafoam bubble that the ship is kind of these two big cannons basically out of the shell that kind of spit this stuff out that gives us kind of almost like the rainbowy colors of the inside of an oil bubble. You know what I'm talking about? That kind of translucent sheen. When that's up, you don't feel wind going past you anymore, and it doesn't feel scary. It feels like you're in. You know, think of being inside of an elevator, like there's at least, or looking out of the window of a plane. You know.
Okay, in that case, then yeah, she would have been out on the deck enjoying the stars then.
Okay. Well, speaking of, we'll come to that in just a moment. But looking downwards, though, both of you, Arteme, you probably would notice this first anyways, see a shoreline that is just covered in dead animals. There are multiple beached whales, smaller creatures that you can't make out from this distance, but that are probably, very large groupers, maybe dolphins, sharks, and so on. That the shoreline for a good, probably, you'd estimate from this height, it's hard to tell, probably 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles of shoreline is just pockmarked with massive dead sea life that have beached themselves along the shore in this kind of swampy area. The swampy area is natural. It's always been there. Arteme, you probably traveled through that area before anyways, but the not being covered in dead fish all along the beach, that's extremely
sound
abnormal.
too good. Is this still part of the sea or the coast from where that other monster?
Nope.
Like,
Yeah, that was in the
was
Caliodoran, and that was, if you're talking about the Sobakite, it wasn't there for Kari, but yeah, that is much further east. That was in Cadogan, which is
east. Okay.
Yeah, you guys aren't even in the Caliodoran. This is the west coast of the primary ocean called the Salt Sea.
Okay, gotcha. So
Right.
what would account for all the dead animals?
But is this the area that he thought he was from, right? Like this was part of his kingdom or whatever, or his land?
No,
You're giving that dude way too much credit.
Yeah, this is a very, like, he wouldn't have been able to swim that far this fast. You don't think
He was like walking across the continent. Where the fuck did I leave my car?
You guys have flown this ship. That was only like 3 or 4 days ago, 5 days ago maybe. Not very long when you guys were in Cadogan. This is a very, very long way. Like, you guys have flown this ship.
He doesn't have a valid driver's license or anything.
That's even if it were, he's Vabian, and that would make it on the northern coast of Vabi, which would be the southern beach of the Caliodoran. And you guys aren't even on the Caliodoran. You're on the west coast of south of. Do you remember Agermoth? Remember where Agermoth is, Becky?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are almost to Agermoth. You guys are on the west coast right now, like of the ocean, not of the Caliodoran Sea. Think of it, if you were to think of Europe, this would be like west coast of Spain or Portugal, instead of being in Greece.
Okay. No, I was just wondering. Okay, so what would account for this?
I don't know. Maybe we should go down and maybe we should have them stop the ship so we can go down and look.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
Right,
It's still night
I'll
time.
run.
Yeah.
I'll go
10 o'clock
talk
at night.
to the Nazimi that's piloting to like lower stop the ship.
Don't know which Nazim it is, especially now that they're both clothed.
I wanted to, after thinking about it a while, I would have gone and tried to find either Seraphina or Norak, or actually pretty much anyone but Nazim. And I would have kind of relayed to them some information I learned about Pilot Nazim, kind of like, just so you know, Pilot Nazim might, I think Nazim might be, looking for revenge for losing his family or some people he cared about. I think that's kind of what started his weird craze for powers. He wants to get revenge on whoever may have done it. So I would have told the rest of the group minus Nazim. I probably would have kind of tried really hard not to do it for him since he's flying the ship, and I don't, want him to necessarily know I'm just talking about him. So I'm gonna let everyone know that this is how that all started, and he joined a kind of a group or a cult that put that thing into his ear and kind of turned him into what he is, but he thinks it's kind of, not fully controlling him, that he has power, and it doesn't seem like it's taking over him like it has other people that we've encountered. So I'm going to relay that information.
Couple of quick things too, just so that everybody understood this. I was navigating that conversation in a way that doesn't betray anything that Sako has developed for his own character. But real quick, that specifically the powers that he was referring to, you would all know to be the Idrolene, which that isn't revealing anything. Sako has said that before. Yeah. So the basically, which Ben and Becky, you guys of course remember those, but the kind of super powerful magical artifacts that were used in balance, that is what the power from those is what blew up the moon and caused. In fact, that's why the sky turned dark. That's why the whole thing happened, of the super powerful magical artifacts called the Idrolene. And that's what Nazim, both of them, were trying to do, is find those and destroy them. But it happened at the end of balance anyways. So they're already destroyed, leaving both Nazims a little bit aimless and still kind of just seeking this impotent revenge against these artifacts that are already gone. The people that were supported the entire Collegium Cetera and the campaign of balance, all that's mostly gone. There just isn't a lot left for them to do, and that's what he was referring to. So that gives you kind of he was dancing around that a little bit on purpose, but that's specifically what he was referring to, that all of you would know because of the vast erudition. So, anyways, so Pogo was kind of handed that information out that he had learned from Nazim B. Was there anything else on there, Pogo?
No, I just want to make sure that I wasn't sure if I wanted to share it with everyone, but after thinking about it, and I decided to discuss it with everyone. Okay.
All right. Then Sarah and Arteme, you guys going to talk with Nazim A? Nazim Prime?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll stay out and keep an eye on the beach just for anything other than beached whales or whatever that's unusual.
Okay.
See if I can figure out what's making them beach themselves.
It's because it's far enough away, ahead of you. Still, you guys are still heading north, and you can just see this on the beach to the north. They're this kind of. Let's see. Actually, I didn't look at the moon phases. Let's see. It would be right now. Yeah, there'd definitely be plenty of light. You almost have 2 full moons right now. So there's plenty of light for you to be able to see the beach there. You do see a couple of different predators, basically small movement that when you kind of squint a little bit, you can tell are at least a wolf and possibly a bear, you're not sure, that are down on the beach kind of herring away at the carrion there, trying to make whatever food they can from it. But apart from that, there's no movement on the shore, kind of waves just gently lapping up at these corpses, and then the tide's still retreating away from them. But other than that, you don't see anything standing out.
Out in the ocean?
What do you mean?
Just scanning out in the horizon, is there anything besides the ocean?
No, not that you see. I mean, there's a village that isn't super far away that is basically on the horizon right now, so it's going to be a little while before you get there. There's a village out there that you can see some lights from. That to be Daggerford out there, but apart from that, there's nothing nothing that seems abnormal, I guess. It's just a lot of beached sea creatures for this span of the shore here, and that's it. So what are you doing, Arteme?
Well, I'm gonna go ask the pilot museum to just slow the ship so we can go investigate a bit to see what's going on with the animals.
Okay. That is regular Nazim. That is Sako that's flying right now. Nazim B is the one that's sleeping. So go ahead.
Can you stop the ship just a bit? There's some beached animals we want to investigate.
All right. We'll slow it down a little bit. You want me just to kind of hover in the area and do some circles?
Yeah, I guess that works. Go low enough so I could try and broom myself and Sarah down without scaring her too much.
All right, I'll lower the ship just slightly, and then we'll just kind of circle around them like an AC-10 or something.
I have no idea this is happening.
Is Pogo now? It is getting late. Like it would be.
Pogo's kind of like laying down in bed. He's having trouble going to sleep because he's been not really doing much all day. He's been kind of bored. This place doesn't have a lot of it's weird, so he's not asleep, but at the same time, he doesn't notice that this is happening at all. He's just hanging out in a makeshift room.
Okay. All right. Nazim, you do know that the Sevastopol can hover still as well. The tendrils still, move around a little bit, but apart from that, it is essentially able to float in place without movement.
Gotcha. I was just thinking that way they can have a 360 degree, and we'll just kind of circle around what they need to see. But I can just drop it down if you want me just to stop. You want me to just completely stop it, or just kind of circle around so you can get a good view of everything?
Well, we're gonna go down to investigate, so stopping to be able to go down would be the easiest way to do it.
Sounds good. I'll just drop it down.
All right. Then Nazim lowers the Sevastopol down until you're only maybe 60 feet off of the waves. Sarah, that does mean leaving the bubble, of course, but that there's with the recent situation, I'll tell you that you have advantage on holding on, and then Artemis trying to kind of keep you settled on the broom as well. For the two of you to fly
my
down.
eyes are also squeezed shut, and I am just holding on to the broom for dear life.
Okay, all right. Well, go ahead and give me your wisdom.
Pilot.
Go ahead and give me your.
I'll also have one arm around you to hang on to the broom. That way, there you don't you won't fall.
All right. So Sarah, then you'll have advantage, and we'll call it a 12 to beat wisdom save. And it is over the ocean, so if you do fall, it's not splattering the ground. Hey, natural 20. All right. Yeah, not super high up. So you dip over the side, Artemis, and kind of begin to glide downwards. The sea here is pretty calm, especially where it goes into this little kind of tributary. I think tributary is when one river goes into another. What is a floodplain area where you have a net, a webbing of rivers that lead out into an ocean where you have wetlands? Like the north of the Nile. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares anyways.
Confluence?
Confluence is where multiple come together. That would be the neck of it. That'd be the top of it. I'm talking about the beach side of this, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, you have this kind of very low, shallow wetlands area, and the waves coming into it are not strong. They're basically pretty low, pretty calm seas right here. Yeah, delta. Yeah, so that's not the word I was looking for, but a delta is the correct terminology for it. It's this big kind of triangular area at the neck of a river where it splits into this big triangle into the sea. So that delta is the right. It's not the word I was looking for, but it is the right terminology for it. So, anyways, yeah. So this it's very calm. It's easy to kind of take the broom down over top of it, Sarah, below the point where you're nervous about the height. It's still a little weird flying just directly over the sea, where a particularly angry shark might be able to lift up out potentially. But if you had any form of thalassophobia. But apart from that, though, you guys are over the sea. You don't see anything directly. So what is it? I guess give me some idea of what it is you're looking for, and we'll figure out what to do about it.
Well, how close are we to the beached animals?
Wherever you want to be. I mean, he dropped you down to where you're only 20 feet away from the shore and 60 feet above it.
All right.
So, I mean, you can see them clearly from where you're at. It smells awful.
Let's put it this way. I am not proficient in any way in animal handling or medicine, but Sarah wants to see if she can figure out, if something took a bite out of them and that's why they got beached. Okay. Or if they're whole other than, the land scavengers eating off of them.
Okay. Especially at night, that might be a little bit difficult to identify.
I will use dancing lights around the
predatorial damage or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Animal.
Then you send your little glowing spheres along the shore, kind of one almost leapfrogging over the other, as you guys make your way up and down the coastline a little bit. Give me a perception check there. With the lights, it won't be a disadvantage. It'll just be a straight check.
I'm also going to use my light cantrip on my orb.
Okay. Just to kind of aim it in that direction to cover as much as you can.
Yep.
How about your? I guess what is it that Artemis is trying to decipher from this? From looking at these.
How they died.
Okay. All right. Give me a medicine check then, Artemis. Sarah, looking them over, you don't see any immediate causes of death, like visible causes of death, not trauma or anything of that sort. Generally, what you're looking for is that you do know that a creature that is still alive, and therefore its heart is still beating, when it dies, has like blood, like it's visible blood loss. You see a lot of like a wound that is torn open and it's stained with blood all the way around, and you don't see that. You do see what looks like a lot of predatory chunks of flesh taken away, but the heart must not have been beating at the time because there isn't blood everywhere. And you do, by the way, from the smell and the looks of these, they've been piling up clearly over time, over the span maybe of a few weeks. You don't know, but it's not like they all showed up at once and then because there's kind of differing levels. Some of them are more decayed than others. Over the span of maybe a couple of weeks, hard to say. Arteme, you see what looks like sucker marks in like wounds from suckers in multiple places on some of the whales. Only the larger creatures seem to show them. The smaller ones you don't see any, but you don't know if the smaller ones might have just been devoured or torn in bits, and then the bits were eaten by other predators and not been able to beach themselves. Only the larger creatures seem to show these, but that you do see probably 2.5, maybe 3 feet in diameter of large. You know what a cookie cutter shark is?
No.
Little. It's a fish, but it has a really unique shaped mouth that digs like a melon ball. You know what a melon baller is, right? Little tool, little like kitchen utensil, a melon baller. Like
to get balls out of melons.
Sure. But basically like a perfect bowl-shaped cut of flesh out of the sides of these things. Clearly ripped away by suckers, by a circular, biting utensil of some sort. So like a perfect concave bowl in multiple places where the sides of the wounds have been torn away by small teeth. It would have had to been very, very large to have suckers of that size, and probably a lot of them. I will tell you that having been there, they don't look all that different from the suckers that you saw on the warrior when you guys blew him up. The tendrils that had wrapped around Norok, for example, there were suckers that did look a little like this.
Kind of like a squid or something? Like
a kraken, really, a gargantuan kraken, which, yeah. A huge squid-like, yes, but the mythological Grecian
not to be
Greek
confused with a kraken head, which is a more urban creature.
Little bit of cinnamon. Anyway, you've never seen any of them, and in fact, every drawing or artistic rendition you've seen of a kraken they varied dramatically, mostly because they're the people that see them don't tend to survive, obviously, and therefore they are mythological in both sense and reality. But you do know they do, actually exist. But again, the kind of the morphology of the wounds left behind do somewhat resemble what you saw with the warrior.
Okay. So there might be another warrior around, or a creature like it.
Yeah, that would be the impression you'd get. As you guys are making your way back, though, you do see a lump in the waves that is kind of being pushed forward. It doesn't seem like it's swimming. It seems probably dead, being pushed, with the waves kind of moving it in, and then as the waves move back out, it kind of moves back out with it, and then the next wall of waves pushes it back in. It's clear there's another carcass being pushed towards the shore. Probably a whale from the looks of it.
Do we want to fish it out and try and see what it is?
You wouldn't be able to fish it out. It's huge.
The whale?
Yeah, it looks like the carcass of a whale. But as it's kind of being slowly pushed by these waves, there's probably a balloon of air inside of it that's still captured, trapped inside. That's how these large animals end up on the shore when they're already dead, by the way. So it's just being pushed along with the waves, and eventually will make its way onto the beach, just like the others have.
Maybe it's time we had a conversation with Nazim, actually told him what happened, and figure out if maybe, I don't know, 2 warriors came, or if they had like a backup plan, a replacement warrior, or something.
I guess so.
They got a
I
backup
mean-
for their backup plan.
Yeah.
You remember what the warrior told you, right?
I do.
No.
Oh, I was just freaking looking at it too. God damn it, where'd it go? He said something like, there it is. We are the vanguard. You will choose subjugation or you will return to the wheel.
You remember
Don't
what a
we know
vanguard
there's
is?
these things
Yeah.
though?
They're the first of the army to come.
Yeah, they're the tip of the spear. Which also, by the way, if Sarah and Arteme are having that discussion, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you that you would probably connect some dots there. What Pogo had told you, and I wasn't going to tell you this, but Pogo had just mentioned this before you had flown down, about the things that Nazim B had told you, that the group he was, Nazim A was also there, but Nazim A didn't give you this information. And that the group that he was working with were emissaries. You guys know what an emissary is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somebody that goes either before the vanguard or goes with a message to try and, I guess, negotiate.
Well, both words have essentially meaning the same thing. A vanguard is a military, first insert, and an emissary is a diplomatic one, but they mean the same thing otherwise.
Gotcha.
So I would say that just specifically because Pogo had just mentioned that to you, that you guys would maybe connect some dots there mentally about that. Anyways, what are you guys doing?
Gonna go back up and I guess share information and keep going on the way.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
You talking to us, Justin?
Yeah, I couldn't hear what she said. It got mumbled on my side.
Oh, we were gonna go back up to the ship, talk with Nazim, and try and figure out if it's another warrior or something else.
All right.
And start back towards the capital.
Nazim is still in the pilot's chair, pilot's room, anyways, right? Toko?
Maybe
Yeah,
we
I'm still
should have
piloting.
everyone with us. Like, this should probably be a group discussion.
Yep.
Taking the Zeme intervention here. We all care about you. You've changed.
Oh, the scream intervention while waving guns around. Never mind.
Pretty much, yeah.
Taco is probably the only one that will remember that since you watched it all recently. But anyways, all right. You're with Nazim B as well, or are you going to try to leave him out of it?
I mean, that's up to Nazim, I guess. I mean, he is him. I don't know. I'm gonna go find Norok. I'll meet you up there.
Okay.
All right, folks. All right, then you gather all up. Yeah, there you go, Sako. You all gather up. Then, well, somebody still needs to be in the pilot room. The I'm looking for. Anyways, the command deck essentially, where Nazim A at least is. Sako, are you going to involve Nazim B or no?
I think we'll leave Nazim B out of this. We'll let him rest.
Okay. He is asleep, so I'll tell you that he's not going to automatically just know. Let me do this. Not really something we probably need to, but since the fox is stepping away for a second anyways, I'll just grab everybody and move you up there. Since it'll just be you 5 without Nazim B. All right. Everybody's up in the where the command chair is essentially. Whoops, didn't mean to move just Arteme.
Because it's been more than a couple weeks since we've took care of the warrior, right?
Let me look at the date real quick.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
Care of the warrior. We fucking killed the warrior.
That's
Sorry.
Scandal. Is that Scandal G? Who is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Scandal sounds right to me. All right, that is, as far as date, that was on Gwen Sayre. 22nd of Harvestry, so that's been like 3 weeks now. Almost 4 weeks.
Right, so these wouldn't be from that warrior.
You don't, having seen the bodies and flown back up here, you feel like it was probably within the last couple of weeks, maybe 3.
So
And you blew him up about almost 4 weeks ago. Like, you blew his head off. He couldn't have,
Okay, yeah.
Pogo and Arteme dropped a bomb on his head, remember? So
there's a new
Big
one.
old bomb. Big bada boom.
here, put you guys in here
All
so
right.
you guys can. Right.
Did you guys push through my giant bird to wake me up, or kind of just get my attention?
Yeah.
Edie Pablo just shouted.
I probably would have just walked up to the PD and just been like, just kick him and wake him up for me. Because I'm assuming
Just nip an ankle off.
butt is like, I'm assuming like his
Hold
butt is in the
on!
door, so he just like back kicks, like donkey kicks.
Hold on. And I feel like a little like weird little pokes, like in my like lower leg of him kind of like grabbing me like gently with his claws. All right, what are we doing? What do you need? I was having a dream. There were 2 women. They were doing my laundry because
I'm a wheel of cheese.
All right, sorry. I gotta squeeze past my bird. Normal things.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of like dead whales down there from say roughly 3 weeks ago with sucker mark things on them, like from a warrior. So it's probably about time we had a conversation with Nazim.
I mean,
so real quick, just
what are we going to speak about here? Like, I mean, that was just the things that ate, or do you think there's more of them?
Well, that's what we need to find out, because like we killed him 4 weeks ago. These things are, I don't think, that old.
All right. I mean, I'm less scared of him. You don't think he's going to do something weird if he finds out that we killed that thing, do you?
I don't think so. I mean, for all we know, he may already know. I mean, he said he was searching for us when he found us, right? Like,
No, I think he
Oh,
was
hang on.
searching
Hang on. Are you having this conversation in front of Nazim?
No.
No.
This is like in
when I
my
went
room.
to go
Unless
get
my
him.
room is like.
Oh, this is just you and Sarah. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought this was everybody together. Okay, never mind. All right, because I was like he's standing right there. Like he's gonna hear what you're saying. But if it's just Sarah and Pogo, that's fine. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the one that has gone to look for Nazim while Sarah and Pogo are talking.
Okay. All right. Well, you find him in the pilot's chair where you'd left him, so he's still there, kind of holding the ship still. But
I'll just tell him that he can start moving and that people are going to come for a conversation soon.
Okay.
I'd say the only thing that sounds, strange about it is I know he's looking for powerful things. He's got this weird trance-like, obsession with things of power. But I can't imagine being in proximity of that thing or just having that thing alive would have helped him in this goal. It's not like there wasn't something about it that he could have used, right? Nothing that I'm missing.
I think he just wanted to be around it because it was really strong.
Like maybe he thought
Maybe.
if he was around that, then it could help him accomplish whatever goal of maybe revenge that he was hoping to play out.
Yeah, but then we killed it, so he came with us. Or he was searching for the ones that
guess
killed it when
then
he found us.
We can talk to him about it, but if there are more things like that, is he going to want to defeat them to make sure he's more powerful, or is he going to want to follow them or join them?
I don't know. That's a
I'm still
conversation to
not.
have.
I know. I'm still not completely sure on. Maybe we just ask him. Maybe we talk to him and we find out that there's so many weird things that have been happening in the last 24 hours that we need. We just need clarification on what he wants, where he wants to go, what he wants to do, what his goals are. Like, my goal is obviously to go to that party at the Capitol 2 weeks ago. That's my goal. So thanks for that. But, maybe we
sure
do
there
talk
are
to him
more
before.
parties at the Capitol. I mean, it's the Capitol. They have to have more
There's always
parties.
parties. No, it never sleeps. It smells like piss, but it's worth it. Promise.
like the city you just came back from, huh?
Yeah. I'm gonna
ass ankle.
I'm gonna find the French Quarter of
Is that where you did your attempt to dance splits thing or whatever?
I'll be honest, don't remember which section it was in. But it was at a place called the Beach. I do remember that. All right, so yeah, I mean that's my thing. Like, I don't mind telling them, but I want to find out what he wants to do with these other things or creatures. I'm not clear on it. Based off all of our conversations, this is what Justin knows. Am I missing something, or we still haven't really talked to him about his overall goals, right? Or he's been very
He hasn't told us anything.
yeah, he's been very flighty about it.
He's absolutely been cagey. Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys have
cagey.
tried asking him a couple of times, and
Speaking
Sako
of
has.
flighty, he's flying the ship
Yeah,
right
the
now.
exact opposite of cagey. I knew it had something to do with birds.
Well, flighty and cagey. Yeah, shit. I never even.
Yeah.
Both of those kind of mean that are used the same way colloquially, but yeah.
Mhm.
I never noted. I never connected that of both of them being kind of aviary terms.
My force
Birds
cages.
don't tell you
Yep.
shit, man.
They do very little talking generally.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the. I don't mind telling him. I mean, I think he might know, or at least have an idea that we were there and we did something. But I'm more worried about the future. Maybe we should just find out. Let him know that he needs to come clean with us. We're part of a team, we're part of a group, and society needs everyone to work together for this to work.
Life
I
needs
agree.
things to live. Nobody's
We
gonna get that except for Becky. So
We also need to find out if they replaced the warrior, or if this is something completely new.
I mean, I don't know if Nazim's gonna know that information.
But he might. I mean, he was the pilot of the ship. He might know some.
That's
he might
true.
know a lot of stuff that we don't know about.
Maybe we open and let him know that we were discussing some things, and we wanted to let him know, as a show of good faith and trust in him and this group, that we were the ones who killed that other creature, and we want him to know that, and we also want to know more about him and his provocatives. That's not the right word. Prerogatives.
No.
Still in that
Almost
dream
had it.
mode with two ladies. Sorry about that.
Oh, no.
All right.
there's some provocatives in that dream.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's my thought.
I
But
agree,
we can go
I-
talk to him. There's Norok. I haven't seen Norok in like a day and a half.
Okay, I know that Pogo hits on like every girl he meets, but was he trying to hit on Nazim there?
I'm not talking to Nazim.
He's talking to Sarah right now.
I'm talking to
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, but he said his
Prerogative. He meant prerogative. and
Yeah.
He said provocatives on accident, but he meant prerogative. Meaning
But that's what I mean. Like he normally hits on people, so maybe he just subconsciously.
subconsciously.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, here comes the story arc.
You know what? Pogo has lots of dreams about twins, and right now there's two Nazims on board.
Oh no.
I had to ask. Okay.
$20 is $20. You don't know. Pogo's pretty open. We haven't run into a lot of attractive other people or things besides a couple ladies, but still.
Does that whole face sloughing off thing do it for
Yeah, I
you?
was gonna say the
Not
melty
so much.
face.
Now that I've seen him naked, it's hurt me for a long period of time. All right, but let's go talk to him. Let's. I mean, if Norok wants to be there for it too, I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Norok at all? Does he have any general questions about this, or is he? I know you guys know each other a little bit better.
We need to go find Norok. This is a group conversation. You were just kind of on the way. Big Bird stands out more than, well, I guess Norok stands out too, but I saw the bird first.
Does Speedy Pablo need to be involved in the conversation?
No, but he let me know that Pogo wasn't
Yeah,
going to
I
be
was
far
just-
away from him.
All right, so you all gathering up then in the pilot's room?
Yeah, find Norok.
I
all the way.
imagine if it's a little late, we can just yell his name and fucking listen to the sound of his clobbering footsteps.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to yell?
I'll yell.
I'll use the. Oh God. Okay.
Norok! No, Norok!
What are you
You
yelling?
tall bastard.
Without metaing this, without cheating now, what is Pogo yelling?
That's exactly what I yelled.
Okay. Just to try to locate him?
Yeah, just to see if we
Okay.
hear
All right.
anything or footsteps or
All right.
he's doing.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you this because, just in the sake of full transparency here as a DM, you yelling, you know that Nazim B is asleep and he's not being invited to this conversation. So if all you said was just Norok, he's not going to say, okay, well, they're all trying to have this secret conversation without me. But you potentially could have woken him up. So we'll see, what happens here. So
Bogo's not that smart. Come on.
no, that's totally fair. That's I appreciate that. Is what I'm saying. Like I appreciate that we're taking those things into account and still playing it, in a character appropriate way. As I'll put that. So, all right, Norok, you hear them shouting for you.
Yeah, I'll go find him.
All right. Then you all gather up, the 5 of you, no Nazim B, in the pilot's chamber. Nazim A, still in the chair, Sako?
Yep, still piloting.
Okay. I'll tell you, you can instruct the Sevastopol to just stay still or to, continue northward, and she'll do so. She only really needs input from the seat if you need to, change directions and things like that. You can basically give her, basic orders, and she'll try to follow. She's not super intelligent. But basic orders like just keep flying north and don't hit the ground, she can do that.
Yep.
So that way you're able to get up and talk, is what I'm saying.
A little bit of snail Bluetooth.
I mean, you can't communicate with her outside of that except via Stargoyle. So if you needed to, he can still talk to her. But the reason I'm pointing that out, because as you guys had seen before when Nazim B was piloting, when you're piloting, you can't communicate. Like you can barely turn your eyes to one side or the other. Otherwise, it looks you're basically paralyzed. And you're kind of stuck to the chair and can't do anything else.
Yeah,
so yeah, exactly. So since you would presumably want to be part of the conversation, I'm telling you can kind of give her basic commands and she'll try to follow that, but you can't, tell her to do evasive maneuvers or when to cloak and things like that unless you're in the chair.
All right, what I'll do then is I'll just pop out, slow speed to maybe 25% temporarily, and then just say, keep an eye out for perimeter if you see anything on the horizon, above, below.
Okay.
Set up the warning. So essentially, just gives a proximity warning if anything is within visual range.
Okay.
I'm gonna whisper to Sarah. He sounds so professional. He used the word perimeter. Did you hear that?
I'll tell you that
pilot the ship.
in the about quarter or so of the window, air quoting window here, that is visible, there is a gargantuan comet that is moving slowly across the sky. You do know that tonight is what's called Fireball. It is it's every, I think it's 125 years off. It's 122 or something like that years that this giant comet is visible in the northern hemisphere you guys are at. It's not abnormal, like it was expected. You guys knew. Well, you guys probably didn't know this was coming up because you haven't been, reading the news a lot. But it doesn't look like it's not anything scary. It's not a portent of doom or anything, anything weird. It's just a astrological event that happens. What are you guys doing?
So we found some dead whales down there.
What we're talking about right now? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Plenty of leather. Are we going to stop by and get some?
No. They had some unusual marks on them. Artemis saw them better than I did.
Yeah. Sounds like it was
maybe
maybe some sort of giant, I don't know, octopus type thing, maybe. Something that has tentacles and suckers that could, be large enough to eat or kill, maim something like a whale.
I'll sketch what the wounds looked like and show them.
So we came here though, and we were curious. We want to let you know something, and we also just wanted to say that we appreciate you working with us and the time we've spent with you and everything. It's been nice, and we have something to tell you. And I don't know if you're aware, but the warrior, we killed that. That was us. And does he have any weird? I'm keeping an eye on for facial expressions or mood change.
Watching his face like a hawk.
Oh, I'm just looking at you dead-faced with no emotion whatsoever. And I just say, I know.
All right. We weren't sure if you knew that. And I know you are, you've got kind of a pretty direct motives and everything, trying to find people or things of power. And we were wondering if you could be more detailed, like we're sharing this with you, and we've been together a while now, and I feel like we've got trust in the group. But there's been so many things that have happened in the last day. This ship, your other you, and we want to know what you are after. What does Nazim want? Be honest with us. Let us know.
I'm just traveling with you and trying to become stronger. just like all of you are.
Is there like any specific, path that you've decided on yourself? I know it seems like you're trying to get yourself, in the vicinity of certain things or people. And is there an end goal, or is there something else? You seem to know a bit more about these powerful creatures than we anticipated previously. And you are piloting a ship that maybe one of them was even flying. So we're just, what other things? Give us more details. Tell us about, what more do you know? We feel like you might know more, and we don't mind coming in on the fold of this.
I guess I could tell you a little bit. Not really in the mood to do so, but maybe a little. I do know that you killed what you call the warrior, and I did join your group because you are strong enough to kill the warrior, and I'm just trying to become much stronger to take care of some things I have to do for myself and my family. And your team seems to have the strength that I can build on, I guess you'd say, and take care of what I need to take care of. And it's a wonderful symbiotic relationship, and I will help you attain your goals while taking care of my own.
All right.
We can help you do that, Like, you're helping us do our shit. We can help you with yours.
Oh, you have been.
How much? I'm going to do an insight check on Nazim to see if he's at least seems like he's telling the truth.
All right. So
I should have done that just for DM. My bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reroll. I'm going to reroll. So disregard that. I'm going to reroll.
Yeah, that's fine.
You.
Yeah. Okay. Sako, what you're going to do then is set yours to private GM roll, and then you're going to roll either, and you're not going to say this out loud. You're going to either roll a deception check or a persuasion check. Persuasion if you're telling the truth, deception if you're not being truthful. And you're not going to say either of those out loud. And then
blind roll or just a private roll?
Private GM roll is what you're going to roll.
Okay, switching over to private GM roll and clicking the button.
Yeah, just remember to switch it back when you're done.
Cool.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask. So we're helping you indirectly, but you don't really want to give too much details.
Yeah, there's really no need to go into too much details. We all have goals. We all have things we need to do, and your goals seem to be in alignment with mine for the most part. So I think that's great, and we both can benefit from this. And in the end, everything will work out great.
It's not a job interview or anything, right? We're not going to hire. It's like you're not getting a promotion. It's just you can be chat like just chit chat. If there's something that's sad on your heart or weighing on you, just feel free to let us know about it. There's been so much that has happened in the last day that clearly your world environment, the things that you've done or plan to do or can do is greater than anything that we anticipated. We weren't, this is so mind-boggling as I kind of just spread my arms around the area that we're in.
All 3.5 feet of it. Your tiny wingspan.
The way that I'm kind of speaking is in a very not monotone, but very I don't think there's the right word for it, but kind of a unhuman, inhumane, kind of emotionless, empty voice, I guess you'd say. That's kind of how he speaks.
Jet lag. All right.
Give me let's see. Do me a favor real quick. Move yourselves to where you'd be standing. Sako, you probably would have, you at least stepped out of the chair. Whether you would have moved after that is fine. Do me a favor and move yourselves appropriately of where this conversation would be occurring. This kind of layout of who would be standing where. Sako, feel free to move yourself as well. I just moved you over by the captain's chair because that's where you would have set out from.
Yeah, I'd probably be right next to the captain's chair at this point.
Okay.
Are we locked? Or am I just being...
be. You shouldn't be. Yeah, so Sako's moving himself. There you go. I just see you move now, Justin.
Where's the door?
So which door? Because basically there's the window to okay. So there's a balcony right here to the south. That balcony goes outside, but that door is closed, and there's a window in front of it, essentially. and the bit of the window that is visible is right behind.
Okay,
Sarah.
well, how do we get into the room?
The stairs. Okay,
From
so the stairs. Then I'll
stairs.
move you over there. Yeah, the stairs that come up here, come up right there. You would be coming out of the stairs
so
right there.
Here to where I can see both the door and the stairs.
Oh, okay. You do know that Nazim B would have to come up from those stairs if he were to be,
Yeah, well, I just like having like a view of everything around.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean is that if Nazim B were to try to be listening in, he could be potentially at the bottom of the stairs. But if he were to come into the room, you would see him through those stairs. So,
True.
All right.
True.
All right. So, Pogo, you are near to Nazim then.
And then I'm going to see if Sarah wants to bring up the other thing we're going to talk about there being a second.
Well, real quick then. So if this is accurate, everybody's standing in the places that they've moved themselves to.
Yep.
Pogo, give me a perception check.
You say
In
that,
Nazim.
and then this music comes on, and it's just...
Well, shit.
Perfect.
That's really, really low. I think potentially Sarah could be within earshot, but it'll be a disadvantage. Same for Norok. Although, Norok, do you have anything for being able to hear better? I know you have advantage on perception checks for vision from your shield, right? Your Sentinel Buckler?
Yeah, but I don't think I have anything that actually affects my hearing itself.
Okay.
No, I don't
All right,
think.
then both Sarah and Norok at disadvantage. Arteme, you also at disadvantage. You would actually be too far, except that with your Elven perception or whatever that is, you would have a chance as well. So,
Ugh.
shit, you guys keep rolling this low, nobody's gonna hear it.
We're just all gonna die in this room as we have a conversation.
We're fine.
So many fours.
Yep, all fours really. Arteme, you hear very faint whispers of like singing is what you hear, and it's actually for that quiet. I don't know if you. Well, shit, you rolled really well though. You recognize the voice, and it's distantly memorable. You only heard it for a very brief period of time, and you know what? I'm going to tell you that it sounds vaguely familiar, but not more than that because of how quiet it is. But it's singing, and it's a song you've heard before, at least parts of it. But you're only hearing little bits and pieces. So I'm gonna send it to you with parts of it removed, and that you're only some words are just too quiet to be hearing or to be
1,
heard.
2, Freddy's coming for you.
How can I send that in? I'm going to send it in Discord, I think. That's the only reason that I can send it, because I can't send it with broken chat. Maybe I can. I guess I'll just have to do it like this. Doesn't matter. You guys can go ahead and continue with your bits here, but Arteme, you're hearing this very quiet singing coming from Nazim. He's obviously having a conversation. It's not him singing, and it's not his voice, but it is a voice that you've heard before, only for a brief period of time. And you're only hearing little bits and pieces because some of it is just too quiet to be audible from your distance.
Okay.
I was going to just then bring up, speaking of, do you know of any more creatures like the warrior that are currently in our plane of existence wreaking some sort of terror or havoc? That's the only one we've seen.
My mind is still a little bit fuzzy. I might need a moment to think about that.
Sure.
Just out of chat, Jeremy, would he have even more knowledge of anything other than that? You could whisper it to me if you like.
I don't think I would.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's not going to bring up any new knowledge for Nazim, but Nazim does
Gotcha.
potentially have more information. And it's the details that I've given you before. So it's okay if you want to. It's up to you if you want to share any of that. The stuff that Nazim does know from post Ceramorphosis, I guess is how I'd say that. So the things that you learned after the tadpole was put in your head, if you want to share any of that, you're totally welcome to. None of that is intended to be or needs to be kept secret, I guess is how I'd put that. It's stuff that Nazim knows that you're totally able to share if you'd like to.
Okay. I'm going over my old notes here really quick. Hold on. I might need a quick refresher on this one, Jeremy, for some of those things.
In that case, then we'll just, Nazim is either unwilling to share or doesn't have stressful situations and so on isn't top of mind at the moment to share that information.
He's been flying all day, man. His wings are tired.
Do you know if they would have replaced the warrior with a new one, just brought a new one in if he didn't report back?
Well, the warrior that you speak of, I know there are more than just that one.
Oh.
But right now, I'm a little bit fuzzy. I don't really have much more detail than that.
Okay, my guess would be that there's probably one around here somewhere.
Just to be clear, too, you guys do know that the warrior is not a position. The warrior is a title. Just like Jack, King, Queen in a deck of cards, in the deck of doctrines, the warrior is a position. It is that creature had a name. That's not his name. That is his title.
I just refer to him as, you refer to him as the warrior.
Yeah,
I know him as a different name.
Yeah, and basically from that you do know that that because that is a position and an important one, it's unquestionable that it would be backfilled at some point, that somebody would be promoted into that position, essentially, if that makes sense. But who knows how long that takes. These are cosmic things. These are not, a span of weeks or days. These are the kinds of things that might be a millennia before somebody, assumes that new role.
Okay.
So maybe you don't know, but you do. I'll you know what? I'll tell it to you, Nazim, as far as whether you want to share this information. I know it's up to you. But Nazim, you do know that since this is clearly an invasion force, this is obvious that hence the Vanguard and emissaries and so on, that there might be a little extra pressure to put somebody in that role sooner rather than later. But it doesn't mean that individual, that specific creature, was a creature regardless of, it doesn't matter whether he was the warrior or not. It could just be a different Kraken was also out in the sea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's pretty much whoever takes that role, that position, will have that power to take care of what they need to take care of.
Yes, but as far as the wounded sea creatures that are on the beach there, it doesn't have to be a warrior, have anything to do with the Thinny that is in the sea that you guys all know about. The black mile of the surface, you remember that?
Kind of.
So
for this song, would I know where I heard it from?
You heard it in Meadow Lake.
Meadow Lake, okay.
And well, shit. Actually, it wasn't you didn't. Shit. You heard.
I hear the song.
Yeah, you definitely would. All right, so let me clarify something here a little bit. I should have been more clear about that. You haven't heard the song sung before. You've heard the words spoken by Nazim before, because he told you that he found these words written on the floor of a building somewhere. But right now you're hearing a voice that you do recognize vaguely singing that song, those words.
Okay.
Nazim, what you're hearing is what you found on the floor in Santhas's cottage.
I remember, yep.
Yeah. What are you guys doing? Any further conversation to be had here?
Ask if anybody else
if
hears
he's
this
not
song.
really sure, that's fine. If you're not sure, we want you to know that you can come to us with any questions, concerns, or if there's something you were looking for besides this giant ship or some activity you need us to work with you on. We just want to make sure you feel comfortable. Norak was telling me this story earlier about you were this was back when we were in the desert, and he was walking behind you and he just recognized the swagger of the way you were kind of floating around and carrying yourself, and he was just so impressed with you. He couldn't shut up about it for the longest time. So wanted you to know he's also on your side with everything.
Are you hitting on me?
No, Norak was the one saying it. I was just letting you know.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But we're all here to gain strength, and we're all here to become stronger than we were yesterday. So I'm here to join you for that journey.
All right, man. Even strong people, you're allowed to cry and let yourself go every once in a while. If we can watch My Girl sometime, and if you need to let yourself down for a minute,
the bees, put those
barriers down.
I'm sorry. I always keep my glasses, but also I feel very little emotion now. So your attempts at making me feel this is going on deaf ears, and I apologize. That's on me. That's not on you.
All right. Well,
Little emotion, but still a crippling fear of bees.
crippling. All right. Well, I guess I'll let you get back to navigating. Is there anything, Sarah, Arteme, do we need to talk to him about anything else? Just want to kind of do a recap, I guess, is what we're trying to do here before we head to the capital.
I'm going to ask if anybody else heard the song.
You're just saying that out loud to everybody? Nazim, you would probably become self-conscious immediately, recognizing you hear it too, and you weren't sure that anybody else could.
Okay, so then I'll definitely turn my attention towards her after she says that, and just give her a stare similar to the stare that's in Discord.
You recognize that now that you okay, I'll put it to you this way. Now that it's clear that it isn't in your head, that you're not the only one hearing it, you recognize it's coming from you somewhere, and you reaching into a pocket where you had stored it earlier, feel faint vibrations coming from the jawbone that you've stuffed in your pocket.
All right, I'll just kind of pat around my jacket a little bit.
If he pulls it out,
pull the jawbone out.
Can we all kind of hear it easily after he pulls it out?
As soon as it's pulled out of a pocket, it's no longer muffled. You're hearing a song sung very awkwardly, not more chanting, I guess, than song. It's not a rising and lowering in cadence. There's no chorus or anything to that effect. It's basically repeating a poem almost, and it's parts that Nazim had told you previously. He actually told you what he had found on the floor in Santhus's cottage back in remember the cottage that disappeared? The old man that
Santa Claus?
And it repeats after he pulls out of the pocket, it's starting this verse. It repeats that verse, and then it goes quiet. And there were other bits of verses that Arteme heard some of.
Is this the whole "Seek the peace of the mountains where all the lights are stars" thing, or is that
that's a different thing. That is what's printed
the chittering
on Norok's
songs
sword
of the Tulian sing, where flap the tatters of the king must die unheard and dim Carcosa.
Yeah.
So now that we've all heard this, and now that I know that we've all heard this, Nazim is just going to start mumbling under his breath about the flaxen seal. And I think it's Nevereverin, I think it's pronounced.
Nevereverin Temple is where the warrior was blown up at. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you were headed when they killed the warrior.
Yeah.
Is anything happening as he's whispering back to this jawbone?
So, okay, are you speaking? Are you trying to talk to the jawbone?
No, I'm just looking at it, and I'm just saying it under my breath. They can kind of hear me. I'm just saying it loud enough for them to hear me, but almost as if I'm just thinking intently about this now. And I'm just mentioning the flaxen seal and Nevereverin.
Okay.
And the king is amidst the salt and shadows.
When you say that out loud, the jawbone vibrates a little bit in your hands, and it's oh shit. Yeah, it'd be audible to everybody, but only Nazim would be able to understand the language, I think. Let me see if I do have it in here. And it says, there you go.
Okay, that's something that only I can hear from the jawbone.
Everybody can hear it, but it's in the headache-inducing language that the Illithid speak. And in fact, actually, it's loud enough that if someone else were awake on the ship, they also heard it. I'll just put it to you that way. Someone else that also understands that language.
Right now, I don't really have.
We got a Purcell.
Yeah, I don't think we have any reason to be scared of the other Nazim's, I guess, reasoning. If it's in my mind. But
Yeah, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do expect, of course, that he would also be able to understand that, because as you guys see the jawbone, what you guys are looking at, by the way, is like a very old human lower mandible. It's the jawbone of a human that I don't think Nazim told you this, but he literally ripped it off of the skeleton of Santhus. That remember the mummified body that was just left behind. He
I
ripped
wasn't
it off.
there.
Yeah,
I was in.
no, we went back to the shop.
Yeah, I was the only person in that cottage, so nobody
Oh,
knew that.
okay.
I
All
think
right,
we were still talking about murdering him then.
well, when Nazim woke up in the morning, it was just like a hundreds years old mummified corpse sitting in his chair, and Nazim ripped his jawbone off and then left, and has been keeping that jawbone in his pocket this whole time, and it's talked to him a couple of times.
Can I ask
Yeah.
Nazim what that is?
It's a jawbone.
Yeah, why is it singing?
Oh, what is it singing?
No, like why is it singing? What did you just pull out of that coat? That we bought for you, by the way.
It's a damn magic jawbone. I don't know.
Can you understand what it's saying?
You all understood the song, you just didn't hear that last bit, or you
Yeah.
didn't understand the
Well,
last
that's
bit. Yeah,
that's the part.
Oh, the translated part they don't know.
correct. That last part right there, they got the song. And you had
Gotcha.
told them the words to that song before, but it's clear that it was that the jawbone was trying. Well, whoever was using the jawbone essentially was trying to speak to you directly, or at least only people who could understand that language, and it assumed they could not.
All right. Well, then I'll hold the jawbone kind of up, almost as if I'm pointing it towards the sun, and I'll just tell everyone what it said. It says, "We await at the passage a black mile to the surface." And then I'll smile and creepily put it back in my pocket.
Just doing that over and over.
It stopped. It only did it once, and then it stopped vibrating. And Sako, I don't know if there's any other way to put a disembodied jawbone in your pocket than creepily. So,
Well,
may have
it could have been,
You like toss it up in the air and then like open
lovingly,
the pocket and let it land in there.
lovingly next to the leather.
started into a dance.
All right, so it said we await a black mile from the surface.
I think it's
We
a wave.
await. We await at the passage a black mile to the surface.
So does that mean that we're close to the passage to Dim Carcosa then? Like where we're because Dim Carcosa is a place that you two were trying to find, right?
Well, it's something under the ocean.
So does that mean that we're close then? If this thing's
I don't
started
know, we gotta
vibrating and
find-
talking?
I mean, we can try flying further out into the ocean and see if it gets louder or something, but I don't know what else we're supposed to do. We can figure out. I don't know what the black mile is.
From
Probably
what
a mile under the surface.
I'm gathering, this is the flaxen seal. They are at the passage, which we still need to figure this out. So I believe we are looking at the possible location and coordinates for the flaxen seal.
It's sign, by the way, and
Oh, sign. Sorry, flaxen
Yeah.
sign. Apologies. I put seal for some reason.
you're fine.
Let me edit that.
Temple Nereverin, which is Carcosa, I think.
The Reverend Temple is on its own Gwynsair. It's to the southwest of you guys from where you're
Oh,
at
that's
here.
right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That was the last location. I
That's
think.
where the warrior was. That's where you
Oh,
guys blew out the warrior.
Just in Nazim looking over everyone's faces, seeing the confusion. Nazim's going to ask everyone, does everybody kind of know what a flaxen sign is?
It's a yellow, right?
So flaxen
It's
is an old word meaning golden or yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
golden yellow sign.
Yeah. And it's specifically a word that means a color, yellow or gold. Yes, like blonde used to be called flaxen hair. Yeah.
So yeah, something about
It's not a tangible thing. It's I don't know how to pronounce this. Chthonic.
Chthonic, yeah. So that
it's
means of
unworldly.
unknowable. Yeah. That's the
It's
word you're looking for.
from a void between stars kind of thing, like a demonic almost.
neat.
That's your Nazim tidbit of information for the day.
The more you know. Knowledge is half the battle.
So at this point, it's probably about 11 p.m. You do expect that arrival in the city will be to Mist. If you keep going up the coastline, you're probably going to be there around like 10 a.m. ish, maybe a little bit after. If you kind of continue at a regular pace. So just for the sake of time, are you guys going to be resting after this? Are you going to be staying up through to have this discussion through the night? What are you guys doing?
I think I'm going to be resting.
Yeah. Sarah,
trying to figure out what all these things have in common and have to do with each other, as far as because I mean, we understand that we got the King in Yellow and these different types of things. I'm just going to try to put them all together, but yeah, I'm gonna sleep after that, especially if it stops singing a song.
Yeah, it stopped. What were you saying, Becky?
Sarah's gonna go lay down, but she's gonna take a while to fall asleep because all that's running through her head right now is Corinzantelis's warning, and she's just, yeah.
Which warning?
When I asked him about Dim Carcosa and all
Okay,
that
yep.
stuff,
I figured that's
mad.
okay. I just wanted to make sure because he gave you a very specific warning about that.
Yeah. So she's
about asking questions that are above your pay grade, essentially. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just running through her head right now.
Okay. All right. Anybody else do anything or getting your rest in? I'll say that if you go to sleep now, you'll still have time for a long rest before you arrive at the city.
I'm just gonna go.
And just to make sure, are we waking up Nazim B so Nazim A actually gets
that's fair.
I was about to say I was just gonna go walk into Nazim B's room just to see if he is asleep or not.
He is not. He is sitting on his bench, and his bed, essentially his shell, chitinous material bed, kind of sits up when you walk in. I assume everybody heard that. Then wasn't just us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they were talking about? Are they coming back? Should we prepare?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you need me to do?
If I pilot the ship, will I also be resting, or is that a non-restable thing?
It's not a restable thing, no.
Okay. We are going to prepare, and we're going to rest up. I'm going to need you to be strong, take the ship, and assist us with what you can from the ship.
Are we going down then, or are we continuing to the city?
Unsure yet. Let me confer with everyone, but it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
All right. Then he gets up and walks past you towards the, presumably towards the pilot's room.
I'll just kind of walk out back with them and address the group. All right, what's our heading?
You are almost to the city, by the way.
We don't want to go too close. Let's say we get turn into that crazy whatever chameleon-looking thing, and we maybe go 10 miles south. Does anyone know? Does Mist have a active navy with a barricade around that we'd have to avoid since we're coming up from the ocean, or is it pretty calm? We could just land on the beach somewhere, and then walk up the coast. I wouldn't mind 10 miles up the coast. Would be nice. It'd be like a nice half day. I'm fucking starving though. If anyone's curious.
Yeah, you're far enough south right now. You haven't seen any kind of a naval barricade, but you, especially considering the tense world geopolitical situation between Mist and Vavi, they almost certainly do have a defensive line put up. But 10 miles would be outside of that. So if you were to stop 10 miles out and then march up the coast, you'd probably be fine. You expect?
I mean, I also don't forget, guys, I have these writ of passages, so they're not bad if we need to use them to kind of get through any kind of checkpoints or anything of that nature.
Well, I mean, most of us are citizens of, here.
Well, if they give us any kind of crap. Also, I have the flyer that's, a description of our circus show. So
You're talking about the one from the King of Cincinnati?
the King of Cincinnati.
Yep.
And I can also make us look, all of us, like not like ourselves.
I mean, if we
You-
need it, I'm
you're-
just saying, you know.
Except for Nazim, you're all citizens of the Empire anyway.
And Mist is a big
Um,
place.
Are there any shit, what are they called? The Juthrans. Are they prevalent in Mist?
Oh yeah, they're all over. They're kind of point central point, I guess you'd say, of their power is in Pale, in Eifelstead, well outside of Eifelstead where you guys were. But they're all over the place in the Empire. They're a very prominent religion there. Yeah.
Didn't we get rid of all that crap from the
I may
Juthrans,
not-
though?
You dropped it.
No.
Remember? You fucking dropped the armor and shit onto the.
There's still armor in the bag of holding. I
Oh,
think.
well, you gotta delete it then, because Pogo dropped it all over the
I was
fucking.
trying to just. Who was I trying to? I was trying to hit
You were trying to
somebody
false.
with it.
You were trying to
that's
false
right.
flag it
No,
out of the
no,
Babians.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Vabians are going to think the fucking Juthrans did it after I dropped some armor down there.
It was a flawless plan. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's gonna see through that.
We probably shouldn't be carrying that around anyways. If we end up getting stopped and like we have to show them what we have, that's going to be a real bad day.
Yeah.
That and
Just
Grandpa's
bloody
old cough
armor.
medicine.
All right, then you guys are making your way towards the continuing north then, and then 10 miles south is where you're gonna stop.
Yeah, about, and then go more invisible, and we'll probably want to stay further out so we can get a good night's rest. Unless you want to camp on the shore, come back to because like after you drop us off, you don't want to stay there. You're gonna want to go.
You're talking to Nazim B to tell him
I'm
to move
talking
the
to
ship.
Zimbi. You're gonna want to
Or
stay. maybe a
Mizan?
little
Is
bit.
it Mizan? Is that what we're gonna call him? Mizan?
Bazan?
Nazim backwards Mizan?
Yeah.
You guys want to go with that?
I mean, we could. Like, some twins have names that either rhyme or like are opposites, so it works.
I mean, why don't we do this? Why don't we park the ship and Nazim B can come with us?
He has to be.
I
Well,
mean,
somebody
yeah.
has to stay with the ship. I mean, otherwise,
The ship we can't have jellyfish run the ship while we're just gone.
Finn can't fly it. Stargoyle could give it instructions, but like it's
so it
not.
doesn't have
It's
to.
not a
It
smart creature.
doesn't have to fly.
The
It
thing is that the ship wouldn't feel comfortable being on the ground, so it's better to have a pilot.
Yeah, you
and-
definitely couldn't leave it on the ground. It doesn't even
Yeah.
like to land. Like it'll hurt her to land.
Is
I mean,
is
honestly,
that
they could go wherever they want. There's a teleportation circle on the ship. I could get us back to the ship wherever it is.
forgot about that.
Mhm.
It's
Forgot
on this
about
plane.
that.
That's a smart thing to have. That's good.
So they could go explore, and
Well,
we can just go back to the ship when we need to.
hey Nazim, no, you wouldn't know. Never mind. All right. Well, that's fine for me. 10 miles. We go. We get a nice walk up the coast. Now, do you guys want to do that in the morning, or should we do it now, and then we could still make it. Well, no, we wouldn't get. We could camp on the shore, or we could stay in these. I'm gonna be honest; these rooms aren't very comfortable, and I wouldn't mind if we could either find some provisions in the forest off near the coast, or hunt a deer. Norak can throw his axe at something that we could cook and eat, because my stomach is growling.
Sure. That sounds like a fun night.
Is it? Would we know enough about the
You're not
forest?
10. You're not 10 miles south right now.
No.
If you drop off before going to sleep, then you're going to have like multiple days walk. The ship flies a lot faster than you guys can walk.
Multiple days to walk 10 miles?
No, you're not 10 miles south right now. You're still
No.
many hours south right now.
No,
It'll
but
be
I mean,
morning time before you walk.
Oh, it'll be
Oh, you
morning
just- you
time
just mean go down
before we're
and-
10 miles south. I
Yes,
get it.
it'll be
yeah.
yes. You still have hours, and the ship will be
Never
flying while
fucking
you guys are
mind,
sleeping.
guys. I don't know how time works. I apologize. There's no windows, really. It's very hard to know what time it is. I feel like I'm in a
Yeah,
casino.
the ship is going to keep moving while you guys are sleeping, is what I'm saying.
I
It's not
get
gonna,
it.
That makes sense. Okay,
I thought we were already almost there, so that's why. All right.
not
No,
quite.
never
Yeah,
mind.
you're still.
Forget it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Nazim B. If you find yourself, you don't have to worry about waking us up, but we'll probably wake up naturally. We do that pretty well.
All right, and I'll keep us on course then. Enjoy your rest.
Appreciate you. And I'm gonna blow him a little kiss.
So now this will actually be a question of whether Pogo is really flirting with Nazim B or
Well,
not.
now I think I'm just gonna fuck with the ZMB a little bit.
Yeah, just gotta at least make the joke. All right, all right. Then, if everybody taking the long rest, go ahead and apply those. Thankfully, you are in the air. Very few predators to be concerned with. Although I will tell that Sarah and Arteme, when you guys were out on the deck earlier, you did see a flock. You know what rocks are? Very very ROC. Very 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 large predatory birds. A flock of them, which is like enough to blot out the sky if you were on the ground for a good while. Just a big V formation of them flying southward. But off far in the distance to the west, and this is very far over the sea, but you did see the glinting of very bright green scales, some draconian shape off on the horizon. This would have been late at night, so you were just kind of catching glints off of from moonlight. Not any kind of a threat or anything you're aware of course, but probably a very large dragon of some sort off far to the west. It would have been closer to Gwyncer at that point, so it could have been potentially over, Artemis' homeland, but that's it. Otherwise, that and the fireball comet in the sky. Otherwise, uneventful evening. But morning comes. Yeah, you don't really need a wake up call or anything. If whatever other choices you have for that other couple of hours, if there's any specific training or tests or anything you're trying to do, reading or whatever, you could have done those during your long rest. But otherwise, morning comes and you are far enough south that you can see the capital on the horizon. But you do know that as soon as you are down you're up above right now. As soon as the ship goes low enough, you're going to lose the city on the horizon. But you can tell that it is there, not too far away. There is a sea blockade of multiple ships, and they're spaced maybe a quarter mile apart or so on the waves. Most of them seem to have set anchor and are kind of just in this big half circle surrounding the south part of the bay into the salt sea.
And that's like way we can.
They're way offshore. They don't know. It's like they're too far away to be able to see you. Really, it's just because you're way up in the sky that you can see them. But Nazim B brings the ship to a stall.
Real quick, but if it's morning time, I would actually go out and look over the deck. Is it, knowing what Pogo might know about this area, does anything look weird on the land side? Does it look militarized? Are there anything that looks strangely different from last time he may have been here?
There's a lot of traffic on the road, surprisingly, and that is a little bit abnormal. You would expect to see a few merchant caravans, but there are much larger caravans, and they're clearly guarded.
And does it look like they're heading towards the capital or away? Or
most of them are heading south. You do occasionally see some heading north, but the ones that are heading north are very large, very slow wagons. I would say that you'd probably intuit a little bit that they're probably full of armory rather, and are therefore very heavy and moving very slow, like a military caravan. Whereas the ones moving south might be trying to make their way into smaller villages where they're less likely to be attacked. You would guess that people trying to escape the capital in case there is war.
Looks like there might be more military activity up here than I had previously anticipated. Look at them. They're getting ready. I don't know if anyone's up there. I'm actually talking to PD.
All right. There's a squawk. There's an awkward squawk coming back from him. But otherwise, I mean, it's not a ton of them. It's just a lot more activity on the road than you would typically expect, because usually it would be small merchant caravans with a couple of guards, and that'd be it.
These are standing army or anything like that.
No, nothing of that sort. You guys are north of an old ruined fort called Agermoth that is clearly being rebuilt. You just passed this essentially, so you're a little bit further north than that. But that was the most recent settlement essentially that you had seen, and that was under a lot of heavy construction. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I mean, the fort of Agermoth is being rebuilt, but apart from that, you haven't seen any large groups of people that are still that are staying in place at all. But otherwise, the ship stalls. It comes to a hover, and it's far enough above the ground that you guys can safely get down using the broom without potentially killing Sarah. But Nazim just holds it there. So if you guys are ready, now's the time.
All right.
I'll just move us over to this one just to. Yeah, it's fine. I wasn't sure how far south you guys would drop off. I figured you probably would, but that's a decent enough VA for now, anyways. But you guys kind of carefully get yourselves down to the ground. How do you go about getting Norok down, G?
I rope up there, right? And then just have like Nazimbi just untie it from the top and it'll drop back down on us.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Norok, if that's the case, that if you're just going to use a rope, that's fine. I'd say that'd be below your passive to be able to climb down a rope without, dropping and killing yourself.
Yeah.
So then you guys carefully make your way down to the ground. You're far enough away from shore you can still see it over the coastline to the west, but it's basically a long slope that leads down to the beach. And apart from that, you're basically not too far from the road, so you can make your way there, and it's going to take you a few hours, probably 3 or 4, to make it into the city. So, you guys do anything for the walk, or just walking towards the city?
I'm just walking, or in my case, and probably Sarah's just floating on the broom.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be on the broom.
Just walking.
Okay. Then in that case, with you all making your way there are a lot of mostly very well-worn travelers. You notice mud on boots, things like that. The things you guys are kind of trained to look for to see if somebody is potentially trying to hide their identity, maybe. But as you guys are making your way there, there's very few individuals or small groups that are going north into the city. Most of the small groups that you see, not counting the big merchant caravans and wagons and everything, but most of the small groups where it's only 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 5 people at the most are heading south. So there aren't very many that are going your direction, the direction that you guys are heading northward. Give me a perception check on, I guess, all of you. Really, anybody that would be kind of watching the people that are moving along the road.
I would actually be. Am I getting any weird looks for PT Pablo is walking with the rest of the group?
Okay.
I'm riding him as he walks.
Okay.
Am I getting any weird looks? Any aggressive looks?
You do know that griffins are used in the city for a lot of the constabulary. They use them for kind of aerial, think like helicopters in the city for the police. So they're not an uncommon sight around here at all. So, I mean, riding one, especially a halfling, a gleeman riding one, a person generally riding one probably would stand out a little bit, but a gleeman, it's going to be, you're expected to be a little bit weird as a gleeman. That's how you draw attention and get a crowd. So, although everybody notices and does look at you, it doesn't seem to be drawing.
I think what I would have done is I would have instead equipped my hat of disguise, and I'm going to make myself.
You don't want to look like your gleeman self?
No, I'm going to make myself a little bit larger, and I'm going to make myself look like a small dwarf.
Okay.
While I'm on this creature, and I'm going to make myself look like a small warrior dwarf. So make it look like there's heavy armor
Okay.
as I'm riding my bird.
You do know
So, like,
dwarves
4
would stand
feet
out quite a
tall.
bit. There are not a lot of dwarves in the city. There are some, but not. It's not a common. The city's almost all entirely human, with some halflings and then a few elves and then very few dwarves. Dwarves aren't really common on the surface. But so you definitely would stand out a little bit more that way. But you definitely wouldn't look like a halfling, or sorry, a gleeman rather in that case. So that would probably draw a little more attention, if anything. Less blending in than what you would expect as a gleeman. But either way, it still doesn't seem to be a problem. There's a lot more activity on the road than would normally be expected, and many just seem tired and kind of minding their own business as you make your way north. But after hour and a half, 2 hours or so, you are able to see the city in the distance. There are guards posted everywhere. Like, even from the outside, you can see what look like military tents surrounding the wall. And they're not in formation or anything like that. These are just, a garrison of soldiers that are, at the city in case something happens, essentially. They're not like standing at the ready, shields parked beside each other and so on. They're just basically encamped in case something happens.
Are there any purple lanterns?
Ooh, good question.
You don't see any, but you're a bit far back to have that
Right.
concern. I guess
I am personally just keeping an eye out. That's like my biggest concern right now, because I know the city itself is large enough to where this. Sorry, Leah's having trouble with the groceries, I think.
Yeah, I'm walking. I'm not floating too. I'm just being as inconspicuous as possible with my melted face.
All right.
Yeah, I've got my hood up to hide that fiery red hair from some Juthrans if they're looking for a red-haired halfling.
You haven't seen any Juthrans so far. You just do know that they are, present in the city. That they're a very popular religion in the capital. So,
but the red hair sticks out.
Yeah. So, but I just mean you haven't seen any on the road, and you don't see, a group of them outside or anything of that sort. But as you guys approach, though, you don't see, nobody standing there checking papers. There's nobody, sitting there with one of the lanterns to reveal illusions or anything of that sort. And you make your way through the big gates of the city, and it is. There's certainly tension in the air. It's clear that this is that there's people everywhere. Like there's throngs of people in the streets, and they're especially for Pogo, who is probably of all of you spent the only one that spent quite a bit of time in the city before. There's definitely a difference to the kind of energy in the city. That there's a little less joviality and kind of freedom, but it doesn't stop business. And all along, especially this main street, are vendors of all types. There's stalls that are just basically tacked into the buildings that are lining both sides of the street, all the way north and south. And hawkers at each one just shouting and waving. Most of them, have a cloth or a flag of some sorts that they're just waving back and forth, trying to gather everybody's attention as travelers are coming in and out. But people everywhere. It doesn't seem, nobody seems to be concerned with your group at all. If anything, there's a little bit of annoyance, especially for Pogo, that people are having to kind of step out of the way of this giant griffin just to make room for you. It seems you get the impression they think it's rude of you to be walking your griffin on the ground. Less that there is a griffin, but rather that you're kind of walking yours in the way when there's such a tight throng of people. What are you looking for?
People are weird.
Herd people are weird. That is true.
That's for sure. Lizard people too. What is the perception check?
I was going to check to see if I could smell any food because I want to go find some place to eat and chat.
Yeah, every fifth or so stall is a meat, like a street vendor of mystery meat.
Pogo, although I'm gonna guy, what I'd really like for us to do is find somewhere we can go sit down and talk about our next moves, maybe somewhat a little more private. That being said, I'm going to buy some street meat. I'm going to pull my bird off to the side and buy some street meat.
All right, well, if that's the plan, then Sarah's going to... I would feel if Noctua had, been eaten or killed or something and was no longer on this plane, right?
Yeah, you would know if you could snap to get her back or not, yes.
Alright, so I'm just gonna snap her back on my shoulder.
Okay.
And
there's a poof of this black and purplish shadow appearance over Sarah's shoulder, and then solidifies into her owl.
So she'll be able to lead us to where Avar and my dad are. We can talk there. Wherever they're at. They've established themselves first, so.
I'm gonna go to one of the things and just kind of... I'm not gonna let anyone see my coin purse. But I'm going to just kind of, in my pocket, I'm going to pull out 1 gold, and I'm going to put it on the whatever street meat thing I find first, and then I'm just going to have as much as 1 gold will fill my arms up with some street meat to hand out to my friends.
All right. A gold will buy you many days worth of meat off of a street vendor. It would be probably 5 or 6 copper, maybe a silver for
I'm going to eat as much street meat as Pogo can physically eat.
You clap it down. A guy in a very dirty apron, very large guy in a dirty apron. That's with the color of that coin. How much did you want? That's. I don't think you can carry.
I wonder how much a gold will give me. I haven't eaten in a day and a half. Give me what a gold will give me.
You see him.
Go.
You see, he is moving quickly already, just because the throngs of people. He doesn't want to miss any others. But he pulls out a big chunk of butcher paper, like a roll of butcher paper, and he rolls it out and just starts slapping down chunk after chunk with both hands until there's probably a good probably 7 or 8 pounds of this like what's the thing I'm talking about, the spinny cone of meat that you get in
meat?
Greece.
The gyro stuff.
But it's the stuff where they literally carve it off with a machete. It's a big like spinning cone.
Yeah.
It begins with a B, I think. It's like a Brazilian thing.
I thought it was Greek. But anyways, he's carving off chunks of this off of the sides of it and slapping it down into this, and then starts kind of throwing it up, like wrapping it up, and he's about to wrap it up with twine, like you won't be able to get to it.
Well, that's fine. That's
dirty.
fine. Wrap it up with twine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna open it afterwards. I'm gonna toss some to PD Pablo.
Okay.
And then I'm going to see if anyone wants to eat out of my big bag of meat.
All right.
You want a piece of this? It's great.
It's going to take you, Sarah. A Noctua flies off, and as Pogo is gathering this, and she comes back basically about the time that he starts to unwrap it as you guys are continuing to walk into the city here. So it's been a couple of minutes, but she flaps back down, and she telepathically communicates to you that they are just straight on the main street here, but it's about probably through the walk. It's probably going to take you half an hour to get there. They're at a tavern.
What's the name of the tavern?
Well,
Would she? I don't think she could tell.
no, but I would assume that it's the tavern that I told them to go to if they needed to, if they couldn't find anywhere else to go.
It isn't. So you told them to go to one, and that is not the one. They're like, I have the name for you, but I don't think she can. I guess she could probably read, right? Like,
Stupid magic owl can't even read.
I mean, it's okay. So it's called the Old Orange Tabby Inn and Tavern, but I don't know if she's able to read or not. But either way, unless you guys are doing something through that half an hour, she leads you to there, and you would see the sign anyway. So as you guys make your way there, are you doing anything else? Along this walk, there are bizarre stalls all along both sides of the road.
I'm looking to see if I can see.
There you go, shawarma. That's it.
Shawarma. I'm looking to see because I don't know if it's going to be on the main road. You know what? Actually, I'll just. Are there any stalls that are selling anything? I can't see. Any of you guys can find magical items? Do you guys have an eye for that? I'm not asking the party.
I don't think I do.
None of us here with all the abilities we have. We can't find things that are magic.
You hear a shout.
Hold on.
You hear
a shout.
Are there any
plants? Are there any plants anywhere?
Hey, Ivy Vine, do you know where we could find some magic items?
No, if no one can find, I just thought because I want to find a booth that has something magical. So I'm going to go ask if there's anything selling trinkets.
It.
Okay, so no, we don't have.
Some would look for things.
You hear a shout as you guys are walking past.
It would take about an hour for me to
detect magic, yeah. But as you guys are shouting this, though, or as you guys are saying this, rather, you hear a shout from a stall, like the closest one to you, and a very young guy, probably much too young to be running the stall by himself, shouts over to you, we've got magic items right here. Just stop right here. And you see him kind of waving over, and he's standing. Oh, it's not like this is well below passive. He is flat out lying. He's waving his hand over this like really garbage costume jewelry and shit. This one here protects you from curses. And you guys are like, unless you're continuing to actually, or if you're going to stop rather, he basically expects that you're going to continue walking. He clearly has no business trying to make the sale.
I'll tell you what. If you can show me how one of these works, I'll maybe buy it for you. What does this one do? Do you have anything that you could show me?
Oh, I'm no practitioner. I'm a poor salesman. I couldn't show you any of these, but I can certainly vouch for the provenance of every bit here. This one here will keep lightning bolts from hitting you.
What's your name?
Thomas.
You wouldn't be lying to a proud dwarf now, would you?
Make an insight check.
Am I right next to him, or are we all together?
Yeah, you're all. I mean, you're near enough to be able to see it. Sure.
I'm just gonna while they're talking, I'm gonna pick up one of the items, just stare at it intently, and then just keep holding the item up and stare back at the salesperson with just disgust, and just put the item back down. I won't say anything, but he just knows that that there's a problem.
Sure. He says, "No, of course I wouldn't. I'm an honest salesman, sir."
I'm going to go ahead and Let me see what it has to do with this. Hold on a second.
Look, it's cheap anyways. If it doesn't work, at least you got something nice out of it. You can give it to a lady friend.
All right. If you take the
Lots of
magic, pretend. Let's not pretend that they're magic. Tell you what, I will buy
garbage.
this
It's
right
still
here. Do you have?
still like gross garbage.
Is there something that looks like it's even like? You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna pick one of the random like a random necklace. That's kind of just some. Obviously as decent as it is on that table. How much is this right here? This one.
For you,
The silvery one.
2 silver, 2 silver.
All right. This is what I'll do for you. I'll give you 1 gold for that piece. But what you have to do is you have to tell me where an actual reputable magical item shop is here. And if I find out you're lying, I'll come back tomorrow. And you're not going to want what I have for you tomorrow. Do you understand me, boy?
He says, so my sales pitch didn't work then? He didn't
It's
fall for
fine.
that
You
one?
got my attention. You got me here, and I'm just.
That's
trying
really
to
all I
find
was
it.
trying for. I appreciate your candor. That's all I was trying for. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. So that's absolutely fair. That is more than generous. You can find the Everbright Lantern. It is. Oh, let's see. It's about half a mile up here. Are you from the city? Do you know the city at all?
Here before, but it's
Yes,
So I'm
better.
went a
gonna
little
pull
bit.
out a map.
Would
You have
you
a
might
map
have
of the
a
city?
you might have a map of the city. It's fine. Arteme has been here before too, so he's going to give you guys directions enough that you can find it. But he says about half a mile up there, and then as soon as you hit the rectory, just you're going to turn east, and that'll put you on the main road, and you're going to keep going until you see it. It's a manor. It's basically a mansion, and they sell things out of it now. It's kind of a museum, if anything, but it's called the Everbright Lantern. It's just up that way.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard.
I appreciate your willingness to accept my creative salesmanship.
Sure. I sold street drugs when I was younger, so I understand. As I walk away, eating my bag of meat. I'm gonna just eat this until we get to the next place.
While Poga was distracted with this conversation, Sarah will use Mage Hand to grab
Cultivating
some
mass.
of the meat that he's got, because she doesn't want to give him the satisfaction of actually sticking her hand into his bag of meat.
All right.
No one
I'm
want to
gonna look
touch
for a
my
vendor
meat?
that has vegetarian options.
What was that, Fox?
I'm gonna look for a vendor that has vegetarian options.
Well, all right. That'd be. I mean, there's plenty of plants, like there's vegetables and stuff, but you're not going to find tofu or
No, not tofu, but I mean stuff I can make a salad with. So
Okay, yeah, that's fine. There's plenty of
Yeah.
vegetables. That's fine. I thought you meant meat substitutes, vegetarian stuff.
Oh no,
Okay.
no. Just
Gotcha.
just veggies or something I can make a veggie stew with or a veggie salad or something
Okay.
like that.
Sure. You find multiple that sell varying, you're not going to find everything for a salad at one stall, but you find one that has, really lush and fresh looking cabbage heads, and another with leeks and things like that. This is all just along the way, so you can very easily just throw a couple of copper over to somebody and grab, the things that you need as you go along. You do end up very quickly with an overflowing armload of stuff, so you end up having to probably put things into the bag just to kind of.
Oh yeah,
move it
I
along.
would take a small a small sack.
Well, they don't
that I
have sacks
use
for you, but you can throw them into the bag or kind of use a piece of cloth and then tie it up. Or something.
Yeah, I'd probably use a piece of cloth to put all of it in, tie it up or something.
Sure.
Or I would have made a few smaller pouches or bags when I was making some stuff the tents and stuff.
Yep, that's fine. All right. Then as you guys continue along, then you're approaching the place, and from the outside you can see that it looks warm. It looks kind of homey and rustic. The large stones that kind of made this place up, especially the cornerstones, are just these kind of thick carved blocks. Hardwooden logs are kind of the building's outer structure. It's difficult to see through these kind of smoke stained glass windows. You can't really see through the windows to the inside because they're just so stained with years. But it's the sounds of cutlery, very very strong smell of venison coming from inside. It's clear that this is still early in the day, but they're probably stewing venison for the night's dinner. This is a kind of tavern, of course, where you don't have a menu. It's basically whatever they're cooking for the day is what everybody gets, or you go somewhere else. But you can hear the sounds of cutlery and so on, drinking glasses from within. There's a lot of laughter coming out through the doorway. Are you guys heading in?
Wait, where is this?
Huh?
What's the name of this place again?
It's called the Old Orange Tabby Inn and Tavern.
Go in.
You're cutting out a little bit there. You guys going in?
Yeah, I'll go in.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
gonna
Everybody?
tie in. I'm
Yep,
gonna
coming in.
go ahead and tie
Fine.
PT up.
Might as well
outside.
get off the broom since we're going into a place.
Okay.
Oh, I figured we were walking. That's fine.
Yeah, if you guys would step down or get off of the broom to step in. Pogo, there is a what's the word for that? The a stanchion essentially where you would tie horses off. It is empty right now. You do expect that if there's a griffin there, people are probably not going to want to put their horse next to it, and that could be an issue. But
Well, you know what? I'll just tell him to hang out right there. He'll obey my commands. Actually, you know
yeah,
what?
I mean, he'll just listen anyways. He could just float up
Yeah.
onto the ceiling or onto the roof if you wanted him to.
I don't wanna
building
ruin
nearby
it.
or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, I just mean that you do expect that because there's not a lot of them, but there are horses in the crowd, and that if somebody using a horse tries to go inside, they're not going to want to leave their horse next to a griffin that might eat the horse. Like that's a prey animal to them.
Right. You stay a few feet away from the post, hitching post. That's what they're called.
Yeah,
Stay-
yeah. Well, a
stay-
hitching post, yeah, specifically the rope kind that looks like a stanchion. There's another word for that, but that's fine. A hitching post is essentially the same thing.
And don't eat any horses or people. And I'll be inside. And then if you need anything, just let me know. We got a telepathic bond too, so you can let me know.
All right.
You guys good?
All right, then you guys step in through as you enter in through this kind of heavy oaken door. It's wide open, but it's you can see as you step in. This is a very sturdy built building. You're welcomed by the smell of a little bit of stale alcohol, but a very pleasant atmosphere. Probably spilled ales from the night before and things like that. There's a stout Thrigan woman behind the bar. She's chatting with a patron that's across the bar stools on the other side. But she still manages to kind of look up and give you a kind of a friendly nod and a smile as you guys step in. It's warm and comfortable inside. These big stone pillars that support the upper floor. You can see that there's at least probably 3 floors from the outside. You can see there's walls are just littered with all sorts of like junk and memorabilia and painted pictures, most of which depict either cats or like rats and mice that are in varying like hunter versus hunter type situations, like a Tom and Jerry type things all over the walls. A lot of them are bright orange cats, as you might expect from the name. It's surprisingly busy in here, which you wouldn't typically expect at this time of day. At this point, it's probably only like 11 a.m. So maybe it's an early lunch, but there's a lot of people in here. The workers seem to be the primary clientele, which by like Pogo and Arteme, usually that's pretty safe but fun group. Whereas if they were soldiers or mercenaries or something, it might be a little more dangerous. But workers, dock workers and carpenters and things like that, those are generally pretty safe. Not the kind of people you typically have to worry about starting a bar fight. But there's several long tables. There's 3 of them in a row in the middle of the room here, and it's occupied by small groups of like couples and lone travelers that are, a couple of them sitting together, and then a small space, and then a couple more. There's other smaller tables that are occupied by, people that are playing various parlor games and like, telling jokes, telling stories, things like that. But most of the stools at the bar are occupied. There doesn't seem a lot of space for a relatively large group like the 5 of you, especially considering one of you is a Yogg. But as you're kind of stepping in and your eyes are beginning to adjust to the kind of dimmer light in here, a skinny human boy, he's probably 15 or 16 or so, in a clean but soaking wet khaki apron, steps in front of you. He's carrying a big large tray that is covered in half a dozen glass mugs that are foaming over a little bit. He slows enough to give you a big wide polite kind of crooked smile. Welcome to the Old Orange Tabby. It's a bit packed in here, but there's some more tables upstairs if you're one to stay for a while. Just find yourselves a place, and me and my sister will come and take your order.
We're actually looking for my dad. He should be staying here with
Halfling
his
gentleman?
son. Yep.
Son, he's a real big kid, right?
Yep, real big.
They're upstairs.
Thank you.
I'm gonna whisper to Norak. What a shite place to fucking lay low. Look at this place. Lay low. Don't go anywhere busy. And then they're here with 400 people.
It is busy. Okay, so just to be clear though, I specifically mentioned the workers things because it looks to be pretty safe as far as an inn and a tavern might go.
And it's an inn. They have a room. We can go in their room. I'm gonna start heading upstairs.
All right. Then all right. So there is a very large, like heavy wooden framed staircase off to one side. You make your way up there. It's quieter, thankfully, on the second floor. There's a lot fewer. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that on the second floor. But you make your way up there, and you do see Theodore and Avar sitting at a table. The two of them are at a relatively small table, kind of leaned over, and Theodore has a handful of dice that he keeps throwing on the table, just kind of idly. They're not playing a game; they're just talking, and he's just kind of throwing them on the table back and forth. Then picks them up, throws them again.
Just gonna run up and jump on him and give him a hug.
There's a squeal, a very halfling sized squeal as you pounce on him. What? You're here already? We only just arrived. I thought you were going to be so much longer.
Too. We found some new transportation. That was fun.
Well, tell me all about it. I think we're going to need a bigger table.
We may need to get our drinks and food to go in your room.
Oh, we're not staying here. We just came here for some lunch. Our room is across town. We got a little bored. Don't worry, it's safe.
Okay.
Pogo, give me a perception check. And we're gonna end it here.
I'm guessing Pogo's been here before.
Pogo has been here before,
Yeah.
and you instinctively look towards the stage.
I remember it blurrier.
Funny you say that. I had to blur the middle of this because of a fucking watermark in the middle of it, as you guys can probably tell. But anyways, not that it matters. It just wouldn't hurt anything. But I just don't like the watermark in the middle of it. But anyways, you look towards the stage though, and you see a face that looks vaguely familiar. Well, not even vaguely. It looks quite familiar. But as soon as you see him, as soon as you recognize, kind of lock eyes with this person, it is a halfling similar in stature to you, with bright golden eyes. Can I do that? Yeah, I think I can. Kind of beginning to set up on the stage, like he was about to set his loot case down and beginning to set down at the stool. But as soon as he catches eyes with you, he spins around till he's facing away from you and starts to pack his things up.
I'm still look like a dwarf though, right? Technically, if they're really trying to see through my disguise, they can roll a wisdom save. But I feel like most people wouldn't be trying to.
I'm going to put it to you this way: you recognize this person, and you would also recognize why that wouldn't matter.
Got it. Fucking golden eyes.
So, but only you. Only you. Nobody else would have any idea who this person is or anything else.
Okay.
But you would recognize why this person would be able to potentially see through your disguise.
Do I recognize this person then? Like
you for sure. Yeah, you know flat out who this person is. Yes, and it's somebody you've worked with before and traveled with before, and is generally not to be trusted, but is typically fun and has gotten you into some situations and gotten you out of some other situations. So, not a bad person necessarily. But anyways, we will go ahead and end there. But real quick, I think the 18th. Becky, didn't you say the 18th was? You guys had something?